No better time to find victory lane than at the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. It's the NASCAR Xfinity Series, Wawa 250, powered by Coca-Cola. An absolutely perfect evening as we get ready for racing alongside our crew chief, Steve Letarte, Rick Allen with you. And Steve, when we talk racing at Daytona, what comes to mind?
Well, it's this magical mix, right, of speed, danger, and aggression. And today's pole sitter, Austin Hill, he's conquered this place twice, and he has figured that out. When you talk about aggression, he has found this wonderful line of being aggressive at all the right times.
Okay, how about four names? Who could possibly win here?
Well, with a couple races left after this to make the playoffs, this isn't the end, but this has to be the biggest opportunity for drivers like Brett Moffitt, Kaz Gralla, Ryan Sieg, Jeremy Clements. Those four drivers, they believe, they know they can win here. The draft is the great equalizer. Even in smaller teams, smaller equipment, they have a real chance versus in a couple weeks when we see Darlington in Kansas.
All right, before we fire the engines, let's check in with Dave Burns.
And talking about Josh Berry, who will start 13th on tonight. He's already in the playoffs by points, comfortably 106 points to the cut line with 3 races to go. Talked to him about tonight just a moment ago. He said, I'm worried about getting to the end of this race because that's what it takes. That's what it takes for me to be successful, or even for me to have a chance to help my teammate, Brandon Jones, who's not yet in the playoffs, possibly help him get to a victory here. If he could do that, that'd be great for JRM, Marty.
So, Dave, we normally see Kaulig Racing up front all day long, all together. Why will that not be the case today when they need to push Daniel Hemrick into the playoffs? Well, because Justin Haley, in a meeting earlier this week, who's in the 10 car, that said, hey, I think my best opportunity to help the 11 at the end of the race is for me to ride in the back early in the race. So expect the 10 car to kind of drop back and then find his teammate later in the race and hopefully push him into the playoffs. Let's get the engines cranked to the World Center of Racing.
And now, race fans, here to say the most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome Wawa mascot Wally Goose and Wawa Regional Marketing Manager Kevin McGrath.
Wally Goose, are you ready? Race fans, are you ready? Drivers, start your engine!
We got a great point battle in the Xfinity Series with 3 races left. Riley Herbst, he's the last guy in. He's way back there. Everybody he's racing against in the top 6. Hemrick, Cookerman, Sheldon Creed is starting on the outside pole. Got some work to do for Riley Herbst.
That's right, Jeff, but we're in Daytona. And when you're in Daytona, nobody's been able to outrun this man right here, Austin Hill. This 21 car, they've won 2 out of the last 3, including the 300 here in February. He's in the camouflage car, but he hopes he's easy to find out in front of the field. It's going to be an incredible night. The blocks will get bigger and bigger as the night goes on. Who can win at Daytona? The green flag is coming up next.
Of NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Toyota, let's go places, and by Progressive. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit progressive.com. All smiles for Cole Custer. Nemechek is going to win in Atlanta.
Heck yeah, boys! Heck yeah!
Austin Hill, 4th win of 2023.
Congratulations, buddy. Congratulations.
Call John Hunter Nemechek.
Wow, you're the man.
All right, Steve, you know that you're good on super speedway races when you've won so often that we're starting to call the races you don't win a winless streak. That's how good Austin Hill is. We go all the way back to February to start the season off. Austin Hill in the 21. Look at this work. Gets right up behind the 1. It gets loose and into the wall he goes. Austin Hill then surges out to the front.
Well, that's really the signature of Austin Hill, right? Right place, right time. But I don't call that lucky. I call that a wise race car driver that knows where to put his car at the right time at these speedway races. And this is a great place to put it on the front row for tonight's race.
All right, Steve, let's see if we can talk to the pole winner, Austin Hill, as he rolls off pit road.
Hey, Austin, it's the guys in the NBC booth. You got a copy? Let's try him again here. Hey, Austin, it's everyone up in the NBC booth. You got a copy?
We just checked with him, so not sure why we're not able to communicate with him. Let's take a look at the starting grid. Again, Austin Hill and Sheldon Creed, the two RCR drivers, starting up front in row 1.
Yeah, big story early will be some drivers going to the back and actually having to make pass-throughs. Jeb Burton back in row 5 will have to do just that.
Go a little bit further back in the field. And again, with 2 races to go after tonight, there are some drivers that are fighting just to get into this playoff picture. One of those being Riley Herbst back here in row 8.
Yeah, right next to him, Joey Gase making his best start of 2023. A great start for the driver of the 35.
Always got to keep your eye on Kyle Weatherman down there in row 10 as well. Josh Williams back there in row 11 next to Brett Moffitt. See if we can get Austin Hill on the radio. We'll try him again.
All right, let's give this a shot here. Hey, Austin, it's the guys in the NBC booth. You got a copy? He's dialed in, Rick. He don't want to talk to me. I'm going to give him one more try.
Well, he's pushing the button. I saw him pushing the button. We're just not hearing him right now, it looks like. Try it again.
Hey, Austin, it's the guys in the NBC booth. You got a copy? No luck. No luck. Listen, he's so dialed in. He doesn't want to talk to me right now. I don't blame him.
Well, he did have radio issues here in the spring as well.
Oh,
Dave.
So should I make you sweat and not answer you?
Please don't.
So Sheldon Creed, his teammate, has not won in this season. He's not won in his Xfinity Series career. He had a shot at it last week. Talked to him today about Watkins Glen. He said, I was pretty irritated that we didn't come through with the win there, but I didn't lose sleep over it this week. His job tonight, get to the front, stay in front. He's already above the cut line, needs to stay there these next 3 races if he wants to get in on points, Marty.
So, Dave, Steve mentioned a moment ago, 5 drivers will do a pass-through penalty after the first completed lap of the race, including Justin Allgaier, 3rd in the regular season championship as we sit right now. I asked Justin, hey, what's the plan? And he said, well, the 5 of us, we're fortunate that other teams had this happen to them in the pre-race inspection process. We'll all be back there together, including Jeb Burton, who won Talladega earlier this year. You see him sliding in right behind, right in front of Justin Allgaier right now. He said, we're all 5 going to work together as best as we can and hopefully not lose a lap and hope for an early caution. We'll see how this plays out. Could be a very pivotal moment for Justin Allgaier in this regular season points battle. So DJ, let's go back to the Peacock pit box and bring you into this conversation. For your money, is this one of the bigger wild card races on the schedule for the NASCAR Xfinity Series?
Oh, it's the biggest, and I think it's even bigger than when you come here in February for the fact that we talk about points, needing a win to get in, so there's a lot more pushing and shoving. So, Brad, my question to you, who does this affect the most possibly here tonight, either in a positive or negative way?
Yeah, that's what it's hard. That's the unknown, because you just don't know what's going to happen. I'm still watching that 98-48, that Riley Herbst and Parker Kligerman battle. That's fascinating to me. Those guys have to race so hard, and they've got to race each other. They've got to stay on top of each other all night long. If somebody gets behind one, you have to go forward. So, yeah. Kyle, I think you got to be hyper-aggressive. Yeah. With the inexperience, that creates wrecks.
You got to be hyper-aggressive, and it's an incredibly fast race.
Yes, it is.
It's just a little over 2 hours. Yep. You've got to make something happen for yourself. You've got to be hyper-aggressive. But at the same time, you got to have that head on a swivel, man.
Yes,
you got to see them coming from the side, from the front, from the back. Anything can happen at any time, and there's a lot of guys in this race that have a whole lot to lose tonight, and only a few that have a whole lot to gain.
So you're saying they got to stay really focused all night. So, Rick, I think that's why Austin Hill wouldn't talk to Steve McCall.
He was locked in. Yeah, the second that they fired the engines, he went into focus mode. Okay, and Kyle Petty just mentioned this. Very fast race. Take us through the numbers, Steve.
Yeah, it's only 100 laps. 30 lap first stage, 30 lap second stage, 40 lap final stage. You look at the fuel window at nearly 50 laps. There's not a pit stop required at any point. You go start to finish of each stage. We expect the pit stops that come at the end of the stages. Now, if we get yellows in the middle, somebody may try some different strategies, but this one can get over quickly if we see some green flag racing.
Okay. We had just referenced the points, how people stand as we enter this race. Again, 3 to go in the regular season. Riley Herbst, Parker Kligerman separated by just 3 points.
Well, yeah, you mentioned it. It's only 3 points, but Sheldon Creed at plus 22, this is the type of race, and Hemrick at plus 28, you have to pay attention. An issue early, you can lose 22 or 28 points very easily. I think Herbst and Kligerman understand they're in the points battle. If you're Hemrick and Creed, don't drag yourself back into it. And if you're Brandon Jones, tonight could be the night that decides if Darlington and Kansas are must-wins, or tonight could be the night that brings Brandon Jones close enough that he can then point his way into the playoffs.
All right, how about the guys calling this race and the experience that they have finding victory lane at Daytona? Guys like Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Dale Jarrett. I mean, look at these, all series combined, wins at Daytona. Just between the top two Dales, there's 27 wins. Steve, you've been to victory lane here as well with multiple different drivers, 4 Daytona wins you've got credited. I'm telling you, it is a stacked field of announcers for this one.
Well, not to mention Brad on the pit box is the owner of the car that won the Daytona 500 this year. So people talk about Daytona, and some people I think go too far and they make it seem like it's a roulette wheel, like your actions don't matter because the draft is an equalizer and because people do have an opportunity. But make no mistake about it, you don't win 17 races here or 10 races here because you just got lucky 17 times. Right. Some drivers seem to know when to make the right moves and at what time. That's really what we talk about when we talk about Austin Hill. That aggression seems to be timed perfectly.
And right next to him is Sheldon Creed. Let's listen into his radio, a little pep talk before the green flag.
All right, tonight, the survival, we're looking at the big picture. We want to win. We want to get all the points we can, but we got to be smart. I've told him that before he got in the car. Remind me.
10-4. Good deal. We're on that plan for sure. 10-4. Thank you.
You heard it there. That's RC, Richard Childress, giving that pep talk to his driver and team. He's seen a lot of success here as well. Owner of that number 3. Made so famous at this racetrack and every racetrack that NASCAR races at.
Well, I think that's the challenge. I mean, the challenge is, so if you're Sheldon Creed and you just heard your owner say we want to look at the big picture, well, what does that mean? And it's easy to say, and RC knows as well as anyone, so I'm not putting him on the spot, but if you're his race car driver, his 25-year-old race car driver who has yet to win a race for Richard Childress Racing, while your teammate who's starting next to you has won so many, you know, what is the level of aggression and where do you hide? I know it's a big racetrack, but we've seen wrecks from the front, from the back, from the middle.
All right, they're 2 by 2. Our drivers have made their way from pit road back up into the booth, helping us call this one 100 laps in front of these drivers. Austin Hill, he's on the left, on the outside. Sheldon Creed in the 2 on the inside. Pace car makes its way onto pit road. The field in the hands of Austin Hill. Fans on their feet. Green flag is out. We're racing at Daytona.
It's a good, clean, organized start. Austin Hill already clear out into the lead. Everybody's starting to jump into that top line. Creed dropping back to the nose of the car behind him, trying to get a push, get that inside line moving.
And remember,
Sammy Smith to the inside here.
Yeah, there's 5 cars that are going to drop off here that were penalized, so they have to do a pass-through penalty. They're going to do it right away and try to work together. That's why it will look a little bit odd as 5 cars go to pit road right at the start of this race.
Not a great job by the teammates Austin Hill and Sheldon Creed to be able to get nose to tail. Didn't work that out on the start very well. Now Sammy Smith leading that inside line.
Yeah, that's true, Jeff. I think, though, that the RCR bunch looks at the Collie cars, his teammates out on the racetrack. They have the same engine program. He's up in that high line in front of 2 Collie cars. They had some discussions about working together better than they did at Atlanta. So we'll see how that goes tonight.
Those 5 cars, that's a great strategy. Get it done right away while you're thinking about hoping for a yellow. You know, it takes these cars a lap and a half, 2 laps to get the full speed. Now, unfortunately, they kind of lost 1 car off the back. The 27 might lose the draft. So now they're just hoping for a yellow.
The pack making its way in front of the grandstands once again. Austin Hill in control of this race on the outside.
If you're Creed on the inside there, you need to try to do your best to push Sammy Smith. I see Creed moving around a little bit, and that's not going to create much energy for that inside line. You need to try to do your best to try to push that car in front of you. Use whatever you got energy-wise before everybody starts to move to this top. Going to see more and more cars start bailing on this bottom line if they don't get their act together.
Yeah, John Hunter Nemechek in that bright purple car, he was trying to get to the top, gave the bottom up. They put him in the middle, said, hey, you're going to do that, we'll drive underneath you. Now he's trying to fight back on the outside of the 10 car.
And what you need to be telling your driver, if you're one of the spotters for these cars on the inside line, find a hole. Everybody's leaving that bottom. You're going to be down there by yourself, and at the back of this draft, car getting really loose back there. Saw a car sideways, like white and blue car there. Almost spin around. I think it was Anthony Alfredo in the 11th car.
Right along with Austin Hill and the Bennett Transportation on board. That's the view he has out of a mirror, looking back behind him.
Man, that was a huge moment for the 78.
If you're in this outside line, your job now is to do this. Stay nose to tail. Do not create a hole where one of these cars on the inside can slide up in. See that big gap between the two black cars? Can somebody take advantage of that and slide up in it? Sheldon Creed's thinking about it, but now it closes up.
The 20, Nemechek finally jumps up in front of Moffitt, the 25 car. There's a gap there in front of him. Somebody might be able to get in that 10 car trying to try to do that. Oh, missed a great opportunity right there. Haley in that 10 car didn't decide to do it. Staying with this bottom group.
The other thing that's unique about the Xfinity Series, they're not allowed to lock bumpers and push each other around the racetrack. They can bump draft, but they can't lock bumpers to work together. And this is that look at Anthony Alfredo.
Watch him in the trouble right here. Right there, the car gets sideways, almost turned down across the racetrack. You get a little bit tight through the tri-oval behind people, you put wheel in it, and when the tri-oval flattens out and ends, the car tries to spin out. All that wheel, all of a sudden, the front tires grab and can spin the car out.
Sammy Smith leading that inside line. He's side drafting, really hard side drafting right now. Very aggressive this early in the race. He knows that he needs to, because if he starts losing ground, they're going to bail on him. They're going to leave him out there all by himself, so he has to be aggressive. That side draft slows that outside lane down, and that lets the guys behind you catch up to you. Now you're trying to pull away from him, but Chandler Smith trying to stay next to him.
Chandler right in the back of the 21.
Big run for Sammy Smith, though, in the 18. He was able to get the nose out in front of Hill.
He's doing a good job side drafting. He is being a little bit aggressive, but look at what it's doing. That right there is allowing him to stay side by side with this 21. If the run comes from behind, it can push him clear into the lead. Good work on that outside line, though, to keep Austin Hill out front.
And behind them, Riley Herbst in that black car in the middle. Remember, he started back there in 16th, and he made a run through the middle, got up to about 10th, and now they're ganging up on him, so he jumps up in the outside.
Another car jumping in front of Moffitt there. Able to find a spot. Josh Berry bails on the bottom as well in the Bass Pro car.
Still door to door for the lead as Sammy Smith just inches in front of Austin Hill, but it's Hill that has the momentum and the line behind him, that energy.
Another hard side draft with Sammy side drafting the leader in the 21 car on the outside line. Sammy in that red and white 18 on the inside, followed by Creed in the 2.
We're already seeing a lot of, looks like windshield tear-offs and plastic flying around on the backstretch.
That's not uncommon at this racetrack. We see it a lot. That gets on your grill, you're in big time trouble. That'll make your engine overheat.
Yeah, there it comes off of the nose of his car. Usually the one that's most vulnerable to that is the lead car. Marty, what you got on the 98?
Well, he's jumped up to the front, as you guys mentioned, and then it immediately kind of fell to the back, and he said something is wrong with the steering in the 98 car. You see he's dropped all the way to the back of that pack in the bottom line, and then he told his spotter, Tim Fedua, something's wrong with this car. It's broken, saying the steering is just not acting right. So, Jeff, what can you do about that behind the wheel this early in the race?
Well, I think what he's doing right now is the only thing he can do, kind of back up a little bit, be a little conservative. You know, we're on lap 9 of 30 for this first stage, almost survival mode at this point.
I'll be honest, these cars don't look all that comfortable. This track has aged quite a bit over the years since the repave, looking a little bit slicker. And those pushes from Chandler Smith in the 16 on the outside line have that 21 car of Austin Hill. He's got his hands full off into the corner. Now Creed finally able to jump in the outside line with his teammate Austin Hill, leaving Sammy Smith by himself.
So the two RCR cars working together on the top now, as Creed's going to get a shove from the 16. Will fill that gap up. Sheldon Creed running second right behind Austin Hill. Daniel Hemrick and Trevor Bayne. Look how close this was for Bayne in that 19. Crazy ride here at Daytona. The official app of NASCAR Tracks has the latest race and event information from all of your favorite tracks. Search NASCAR Tracks in the App Store to download for free. Riding along now with Jeb Burton and that State Water Heaters on board. And still up front, it's Austin Hill. Sheldon Creed running in the second spot. Those two teammates nose to tail. The inside line was being led by the 19. Trevor Bayne had worked his way all the way up to fourth, but then without much help back behind him, he's dropped back and now fighting to stay in the top 10.
Yeah, now there's only two cars in that bottom groove as the 48. Parker Kligerman has jumped into the outside line and left those two Toyotas by themselves. Marty, what you got on the 98 car now?
So Junior all the way back in 31st. Riley Herbst, who came in just 3 above the cut line, sits. What's going on with the car? Listen on the radio.
What it was because I just came from a steering rack car, and now I'm in a steering box car. But the slop on this thing is incredible. Yeah, but is the assist still the same, or is it getting stiffer? Oh, it's not the stiffness, it's the movement in the wheel. My orange stripe is almost 3 o'clock. Yeah, it's in for it. Just bear with me while you can. We're trying to get across here. Something's for sure broken in the front end. This is incredible, man. 3 races ago in this break.
And that last radio transmission happened 2 laps ago. So, Steve, a lot to unpack there for Riley Herbst. What could be going on with the 98?
Well, let's start what he's talking about with the 2 different steering. He's running the Cup car. The Cup car has a completely different steering system, so very wise to him analyze. I thought it was just the feel between the 2 cars. I tried to ride it out or think about it, but something is definitely wrong. The crew chief asks about assist, meaning you have and then you don't have power steering. What he's saying right there, though, is the slop, which means you literally turn the wheel a little bit and nothing happens, or you turn the wheel back to the right and nothing happens. So it could be really, unfortunately for the 98, a ton of things. There could be a mechanical issue on the outside, being like the tie rods themselves aren't as tight as they need to be. It could be a failure inside the steering box. The trouble drivers is I could give you a list of 30 potential issues, and I'm not sure you're going to have time to check them all underneath a yellow at the end of the stage.
I think if you can just tell me, hey, nothing's broken, right? The shields are in the control arm. There's nothing broken in this car, then I'm just going to have to deal with it. And he's not going to like it. There is something wrong, but will it fail? That's what his concern is right now.
Now, the good news is with 14 laps to go, he has no reason to need to. I mean, you see in the upper right, he's basically a backstretch behind. With 14 laps, no concern about losing a lap. So just do what he's doing and get to the end of stage 1.
Single file racing right now, but the most aggressive driver on the racetrack so far has been Trevor Bayne. He has been pushing the issue. Watch Trevor Bayne and Anthony Alfredo. Trevor has 3 races to run this year. This is the first of those 3. He makes a move. Anthony, a little bit of a block, a little bit of contact. Trevor says, I'm not lifting. This is my spot. He actually drove up toward the front, and then they hung him out. He was the only car left on the bottom, and now he's falling all the way back just because of that. But he was pushing the button early.
Yeah, one driver who's made his way up to the front, last year's winner in this race, Jeremy Clements, up into the top 10 already after starting back in 32nd. Jeremy Clements, definitely a driver on the move, running 8th right now.
Yeah, that's that blue with the white 51 on the roof, right in front of Cole Custer in the 00.
Parker Kligerman just behind them in the 48. And Parker Kligerman, we heard at the beginning of the show, Parker Kligerman and the 98 of Riley Herbst, they're going to want to be racing around and making sure they know what the other one is doing. Well, right now, Riley Herbst not having the race that he wanted to start with, and Parker Kligerman running comfortably right now in 10th.
And Parker is sitting there with an opportunity to score some stage points here. And we know in the last lap, or maybe even the last 2 laps, this is going to get shuffled up a little bit. And that will present him with a chance to improve that position even more. That's definitely something he wants to do here, Dave.
Talked to Parker earlier today about how he managed in the top 10 here. I said, I always want to be going forward. Even when I fall back into the top 10, maybe back where he is right now, he said, I want to make sure that I'm doing things that make me go forward, unless we're all just riding together. So I don't think you'll see him pop out of line, but you see him looking and thinking about what he can do a little bit later.
Yeah, Dave, that's the key, is they are going to make moves, just like Junior said. The question is, when do you make a move? When do you want to turn left? The reason he's not going to do it right now is he debris on the 21 car, the leader. You said it earlier. That's the guy that gets to it first, and it always seems to end up on his nose. We'll have to see if that causes a problem. But for Parker Kligerman, and really all of these guys in this outside lane, is when do you make that move? You're afraid to make it too soon because nobody will go with you. There you go. He's not afraid.
Sam Mayer drives to the inside. Problem is there's not any room up there.
We're all separated.
He was trying to get up there, but Anthony Alfredo filled the hole.
Yep, and that's a tough situation. He's going to now go all the way to the back of this line unless he can find a hole. He's probably going to slot right in front of his teammate, Josh Berry, somewhere along that line. When you are in this single file line, the only way to really make a pass is to take one at a time. If you drive down in the corner with a big run to the bottom of turn 3 and you take more than that, you're going to be sitting there out of line and you're going to get trained. If you can just take the one spot that you can get, pull in line, do that lap after lap, one at a time, you'll get yourself toward the front. It's very hard to be that patient, though. Here goes the 48, Parker Kligerman, to the bottom, but he can't find a hole to fill that void.
That's just way too early right now, especially after just watching what happened. When Sam Mayer hung a left and nobody went to him with him, that should have been Parker's clue. Do not do this. Dude, it's too early to do it. Now, there are times, Junior, where you drive into especially turn 3 and everybody gets bottled up and you either got to run into the guy in front of you or hang a left. And there are times that you get down here never even intended, but you can see what's happening. He was in position to get points, and now he's going to fall all the way to the back of this line.
If you want to make a move on that car in front of you, watch Sam here. Can't really see him. There he is. He's already starting to look to the inside. He's going to try to side draft here and slow down the 78. It doesn't create a big enough hole for him to fall into right there. That's the problem. When you want to make that pass that Sam wants to make, you need to see a little gap in front of that 78 down the back straightaway. So when you do side draft him, it does create that big enough of a hole for your car to fill. If the gap isn't there, you're not going to drag him back and create a big enough hole for your car. That's what happened to Sam.
8 to go in stage 1. Austin Hill has been dominant. 19 of the 22 laps he's been up front. See if he can get there at the end. 5 to go in stage 1 of the NASCAR Xfinity Series Wawa 250 from Daytona International Speedway. Still up front, it's Austin Hill.
Well, I think what you're seeing here is a very fast Austin Hill and Sheldon Creed, two team cars that are kind of nose to tail, and I think they're very patient running there, where the back guys just outside the top 10, the ones that aren't going to receive, points, they're trying to push the issue where you get Austin Hill leading Creed. He'd love to get 9 points in the stage and just continue to try to get away from that cut line.
And we just saw Sammy Smith in the 18 slide into the 11th spot. Remember, he's the only other driver that's been up front to challenge Austin Hill, and now he's fallen back to 11th. Dave.
We saw Parker Kligerman try to make that move. No one went with him. He discovered that was not the way to go. But then he got back in line. The crew talked with him. This was the discussion.
That's nothing. Had to try. We'll just keep moving forward.
Yeah, all good.
98 has a steering box issue. They are in trouble. We're doing fine.
So that was the message. Drivers, I know you'd like to know that, where the guy that you're racing against is in this, and he's been told now that Riley Herbst has an issue. Don't get overexcited. Just do what you've been doing. There's lots of time left.
Well, that move Parker made, I disagree. That was not a move he had to make. It was a little bit too early. I understand the logic, but you've got, just like you said, Junior, you've got to manage that gap. Right now, if he's looking at that 07 car, is there somewhere to go? If I drive underneath Yaley in that 07, Can I slide up in front of him and take that spot? Currently, there is nowhere to go. He's going to side draft him. No harm here, though. There's not enough people behind him to get by him if it doesn't work. It did work and worked well, but that's the time to try it. If it hadn't worked, there was no loss because nobody could have taken that spot.
Under 2 laps to go.
The magical line for Kligerman now in 12th. He needs 2 more spots to get a point at the end of the stage. The 5 cars that had to do the pass-through, there was some question of would they be able to stay in the lead lap. It will really be no problem at all. They're still 10 seconds in front of the leaders, so first stage has gone by, but it looked like all 5 will end up in the lead lap.
What happens here? That's the question. Does Creed
there it is, right
help
there.
Austin Hill? Does the bottom start to form? You're seeing some cars drop down there. Moffitt, Brandon Jones, the 19. That's probably not enough race cars to get anything going. I think if anything happens, it's going to be the Collie cars. If the Collie cars stay in line with RCR, this will finish as is. If the Collie cars get racy, dive down to the bottom, try to take the position away from the 2.
Well, let's see how much Sheldon Creed listened to RC.
Sheldon's backing up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Austin Hill's got a pretty good gap. Look here. Here goes the Collie cars to the inside of Creed. Austin's going to stay to the top. Chandler Smith to the bottom.
So Austin Hill's going to get a little shove from Sheldon Creed if he can get to his back bumper. Anthony and coming to the line, it looks like Austin Hill easily is going to take stage 1. Sheldon Creed, and look at the problem for Herb. So something did finally break on that 98.
The left front tires come apart, ripped the whole left front fender off.
So, Jeff, you mentioned it, and Dale both were talking about, hey, is it a steering thing? Could it be camber shims? So something obviously amiss on the 98 that caused the left front tire to go down. Marty.
Riley Herbst very upset, and it has to really go back to last week. Remember, they had the engine issue, and then they had the track bar mount break. They had the failure at Watkins Glen. He was very upset on the radio, said, how can we bring a car like this to the racetrack? And obviously mentioned earlier, 3 races to go here in the regular season. Came in +3 above the cut line, but this is going to be not night over, but it's going to be a long night for this 98 team.
It could be night over for Riley Herbst. So much damage. She lost 31 points to the bubble at Watkins Glen. That was the last race. Austin Hill leads and wins stage 1. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Credit One Bank, the credit card company. I would say this is the calm before the storm, but the storm is somewhat hit Riley Herbst already.
Yeah, so basically, you know, we thought and we had heard that it was a steering box issue. Well, the simple fact is, if the steering box is breaking but everything is tight, the front tires are going to turn together, which is not going to feel good, but it is not going to fail a left front or a right front tire because they're pointing in the same direction relative to one another, just not comfortable for the driver. They came down pit road with a flat tire. Let's listen in to what they said.
There's a problem lap 1. Let me bring a car to the racetrack.
So you hear the frustration out of Riley. I have to agree with what Riley's saying, that there's an issue with the car. I don't believe it's a steering box. First of all, they haven't changed the steering box. I believe something is either loose or broken that made that left front tire turn out, which Dale, to your point, made him turn to the right, which says, hey, my steering wheel is now at 3 o'clock. It finally literally just drug the left front tire around here at 180 miles an hour, scrubbing it until it finally failed and blew a left front tire.
So frustrating for Riley. Riley's done a really nice job this year. This is the second week in a row where something's happened that is out of his control.
He scored 2 laps down as we see the field making their way onto pit road for pit stops, Dave.
The leader, Austin Hill, said, I just need to be able to tug on the wheel a little bit more to steer this thing down into the corner. 4 Goodyear tires for him, and they'll fuel it up. As for his teammate, Sheldon Creed, oh, he's just going to get 2. Sheldon Creed will get 4, and he will just needs to be a little bit better off the corner. Too loose, Marty.
Dave, what a stage for Brett Moffitt. He wound up finishing 4th, said the car was just a little bit too free, especially at the end of the run. Meanwhile, Chandler Smith, bottom right of your screen, said his car was free the entire run, but especially really bad on those final couple laps at the end of stage 1. Austin Hill with the call of 2 tires. A lot of 4-tire calls as well, but a couple 2 tires mixed in there as well, Rick.
Yeah, big gains for John Hunter Nemechek, 12 spots on pit road with that little strategy move of 2-tire stop. Does anybody have anything for Austin Hill, winner of stage 1? We have not seen domination like this in pro motocross since James Stewart and Ricky Carmichael. Those guys did it undefeated. Well, tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern on Peacock, it's the Ironman National from Crawfordsville, Indiana. And Carmichael, by the way, Ricky Carmichael will be the honorary pace car driver tomorrow night for the Cup Series race.
Yeah, well, what Jet Lawrence is doing, as you mentioned, is unreal. I think he can go 21-0, and then I'm super excited come September. You know, that 3-race basically culmination of the whole thing, from the stadium supercross to the outdoor motocross. Now we're going to see that pro super motocross championship all together. I mean, how could you not think Jet Lawrence is the favorite heading into that?
Looking at that as a little bit of a heavyweight battle. All right, want to go to the Peacock pit box. DJ, if we look at this as a 3-round bout between Parker Kligerman and Riley Herbst, did Parker win the first round?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he definitely knocked him down right here. Not saying that he's out yet, but guys, this is a pro. We talk about the pressure of the drivers in this playoff scenario, but how about the crews? Because you get no practice anymore. They had 1 lap of qualifying today.
Yeah, 1 lap of qualifying. You got to nut and bolt that car, and it does not appear that that car was nut and bolted. We heard Steve talk about, you get that slop in the steering wheel where it's doing this, and all of a sudden that left front is towing out or towing in, and it looks like it just drugged the tire off the car, honestly.
Yeah, the bad thing about this is Riley's trying to get into the playoffs. He's trying to race for a championship. We saw last week this team have problems.
Yes.
Things out of his control. He's doing his part, but he's being let down.
Yeah, Rick, I know he feels like that. Riley feels like he's out of this right now, but we know all the crazy stuff that could happen later on. This could work out and not be as bad as he thinks right now.
Yeah, the one thing he's got going for him is Parker Kligerman didn't finish in the top 10, so he didn't take advantage of any stage points. We look at who did gain those stage points, from Austin Hill all the way down to Trevor Bayne. Take a listen to Parker Kligerman's radio.
The 98 had some sort of steering issue. Left front tire just blew off of it, exploded the left front fender off of it. They got a lot going on. They're 3 laps down already, okay?
And it's 34 points now that separate those two right at the cut line. Getting ready to start stage 2. It's Hill on the outside, Creed on the inside once again, with Nemechek now behind the 21. Nemechek and Hill fighting for the regular season title. And we'll see if that 3-car push that we're seeing on the outside will surge that group ahead.
Hill's clear of the 2-car, but now here comes Creed back to the inside. I like that idea of staying to the top. Creed is his teammate, but if he jumps down on the inside and that inside line's not organized, the top's going right by you. He's going to stay up there. This is Austin Hill I'm talking about. He's going to stay up there and try to keep those Toyotas behind him. Coming 3 wide back here. The 1-car, Sam Mayer. 3 wide this early in the race. Always kind of makes me nervous.
It's the time to do it, though, is when you're all bunched up. If you go 3 wide in the middle, you can get enough people to come with you, and sometimes it can push that line. Once it gets spread out, 3 wide does not work very well, but right now it could.
It takes a little bit of the momentum out of the inside line. A few rows back, right? You can see it starting to drag that inside line back.
Say Water Heater's camera on Jeb Burton's car. Got a Ward Burton paint scheme on this thing. Looks just like Ward's car.
Jeb is thrilled to be able to drive this car here, this paint scheme. A lot of movement in that outside line. The Toyota, Sammy Smith going back and forth, trying to push his teammate.
Side drafting out of the 2 of Sheldon Creed. Now does the 20 of John Hunter Nemechek. Does he try to pass that 21 and go to the bottom line?
He tries to get down there and do it, Rick. Not able to get enough momentum.
Great regular season point battle between those 2 guys. Nemechek in that purple car, Austin Hill in the 21 car leading the race.
Creed back to the inside here now. The 20 has a good run, but he can't go to the inside just yet with Creed down there.
And the other thing that's happening here is that Nemechek keeps looking the outside of Austin Hill. That makes Austin Hill have to block that move. Nemechek's aggressive. You cannot, for a minute, if you're Austin Hill, get relaxed here. You have to be on full offense, meaning be looking at that mirror. Do not let him jump on the outside of you.
Sheldon Creed now doesn't have a lot of help behind him as Parker Kligerman's about 2 car lengths back.
Austin Hill wants to lead every single lap of this race, and he knows that if he gives up the lead, it'll be tough to get it back. Field's trying to work against him, to be honest with you. They know how tough he is to beat here. If they just allow him to stay out front and control this race, it gets harder and harder the closer we get to the finish to be able to take this lead away from Austin.
And you see Austin looking in his rearview mirror. He does that a lot at these racetracks. You see his numbers.
Some people just have a knack for it. Just comes naturally. I think it comes naturally to Austin on what he needs to do. He understands how to get in front of the right line at the right time. Got great trust with his spotter.
Good run on the bottom right here. Sheldon Creed leading that inside line. Parker Kligerman right behind him. Nemechek in that purple car lost the back of the 21. That's going to allow Creed to move up and take the lead.
Oh, he thinks second about it. Now he's going to stay down here in front of the 48. But the run's coming up top. They're organized. He's going to jump in front of it.
He gets there in time, and so he'll get a little help from his teammate now, and it's Creed that's out front at Daytona.
Anthony Alfredo in that blue and white car on the bottom. He made it 3 wide.
Oh, the 21 got a little loose there, sorry. 21 car getting a little bit of movement, getting a little push from the 20 car. Nemechek, purple 20 car in third in line on the outside.
And now his car's going to drive differently.
Well,
once you lose that lead, it drives completely differently.
Well, remember, they were so concerned about losing the lead that they only took 2 tires on the 21 and the 20 of Nemechek. I think that's fine as the leader, but now back here with dirty air out front and a push from behind, those 2 right side tires, the only fresh tires on the car is going to make it harder to drive.
What I see is everybody's cars are hard to drive. These things are a handful. Oh, we got a big crash. Hard hit in the outside wall. Moffitt, Jones.
Moffitt in the 25, then Brandon Jones collecting the 38 as they come across the field.
You could feel it coming. The cars just look like a handful through turns 3 and 4 that last time by. Everybody sort of checking up, trying to gather their cars up, and it really got everybody bound up right there in the middle of the pack. Some contact through the tri-oval.
There's Connor Mozak in the 24. Extensive damage to the front. Brandon Jones, the hood in front of the windshield.
Brandon Jones cannot catch a break. It's just one thing after the other.
Alex Gwinnett, we saw him in the 91. Slow on the track. Joe Graff Jr. was in it. Natalie Decker in the 53.
At 0.
Natalie Decker finished 5th in the Truck Series race. Her best finish. NASCAR, as we see the AMR safety crews getting to all of these drivers. Take another look at what happened.
Looked like the 78 of Alfredo came up the track a little bit. Go back and watch it again. A lot of cars moving around. Watch the very bottom of the racetrack. He loses the race car. A little bit of contact. Saw some smoke fly, lost the race car, and then got into the 9, and that just started checking everybody up.
Saw Ryan Sieg in the 39 also sliding into the infield.
Junior, the tri-oval, that's where the car drives the worst.
Yeah.
It's watch a blue and white car. Watch see what happens to him. Everything looks fine right here. A little bit of contact on the right rear quarter panel, maybe. But the tri-oval doesn't have the banking in it that the corners do, and the cars are lighter. And any little contact, you lose control. So they drive the worst in that part of the racetrack.
Brett Moffitt in the 25. Riding along with Jeff Burton in the 22.
Check. Down. You're good on it right here. Roll forward.
This is on board. Yeah, this is on board Kaz Gralla. He's going to know the smoke. He's out of gas, trying to slow it down.
Check up. They're up top. Right here, right in front of you.
Such a good feeling when you can get through that without any problems.
I got one now.
Big hit for Brandon Jones. Brandon in the 9, that yellow number 9, right in the center. He gets caught up with this.
The 78 came up the racetrack a little bit. The 9 came down the racetrack a little bit, contacting the right rear quarter panel, and then off it went. It's a great view.
3 wide through the tri-oval is tough. And yeah, I mean, the 78 come up the racetrack, contact with the nose of the 9.
We're looking at least 12 with damage in this incident.
So the 78 drifts up a little bit, and then the contact steers him further up the track, right? He's trying to get back down the racetrack, but that contact with the 9 continues up the racetrack. And you're right, the tri-oval is where the car is the most uncomfortable. It's not loaded into the racetrack like it is in turn 1 and 2, or the banking of 3 and 4. And when you're in 3 wide, you have no air on the car. You lose the nose. Let's see what Anthony has to say.
What just happened? Because I about got hooked. Did the 25 get a bad push or give one? He gave you one. He just wasn't squared up. He was my friend there. That sucks.
So he's talking about a push.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just seems like the 78, maybe not in his own accord or by his own control, you guys have said it here. He leaves the double yellow line more than the car in front or behind. And the 9 of Brandon Jones is kind of holding that middle line, probably assuming, Junior, right, that he can't move to his right because he has a car over here. I think he's hoping, you know, the 78's going to come up a foot or so and then turn back down. And finally, there's that contact you guys have been referring to, and then kind of you're all done. So you mentioned a push. I didn't really see a push that caused it, but maybe that's, I mean, the 25 is way behind the 78 right here entering the tri-oval. Let's take a look.
Yes, here they go. Watch the 78. See, he just gets up the racetrack, and then the 9's there.
So he's thinking that someone pushed the 9 or the 25 maybe into his right rear, but I think in the end, in review, Anthony might think he came up a little bit into the 9.
We'll have a restart when we return. Thursday, September 7th, the NFL season kicks off in Kansas City when the Detroit Lions visit the defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs. It's the NFL season opener, only on NBC and Peacock.
As a Nebraska guy, do you just all of a sudden take the Chiefs on? Like, where's your NFL allegiance?
Definitely the Chiefs. The closest state, the closest
Never heard him say that until they started winning Super Bowl. All of a sudden,
Chiefs
jumps right on the bandwagon.
Well, it was the Broncos, too, because those are the
I was going to say.
They have a much better chance of winning.
I'll tell you what a beautiful view. Take a look at Daytona International Speedway. And this is a tough situation. Riley Herbst's back on pit road. They've been working on this car. He's 3 laps down. They had an issue with the steering box. And, Steve, they were talking about a bolt or a nut that had come off of the top of the steering box. Had you ever heard of anything like this?
No, I haven't. You know, when you think you've seen everything, then you hear what happened in the 98. Marty, how has the diagnosis been for pit road?
I was hoping you could explain it to me, Steve. Davin Restivo, the crew chief for Riley Herbst. Riley came on the radio, said, can you at least tell me what happened? He said the top bolt on the steering box was literally had backed out and was starting to come off, and the box was starting to physically come apart. That was the issue. So they got to pit road finally, and they were able to kind of get that bolt tightened back up. And now the steering is fine for Riley Herbst. Problem is, they're 3 laps down. They have no left front fender and got a little bit of damage from that wreck just a moment ago. But I've never heard that one either, Steve. That's a new one on me, too.
Yeah, so basically the steering box, you know, there are a few different companies that service the interiors of the steering box. Some teams do it themselves at the bigger teams. But, you know, once you put the steering box itself on the car, hook the lines up to it, and hook the steering components up to it, you don't take the steering box apart. That'd be like go picking up an engine from Roush Yates and taking, you know, the engine apart. You just put it in your car. It's been prepared by somebody else. So I have never heard of that coming apart. I will go as far as to say I've never seen it come apart. I wouldn't know exactly what that would do to the steering box. It's a wonderful job by the team to get it repaired, but this is just, I don't know. I mean, it's awful luck for the 98. I mean, awful luck for the 98.
It is, but if the bad luck's out of the way, I would tell my driver, hey, we're going to get these 3 laps back. We're going to have opportunities. We're going to have chances. There should be a lot of yellows traditionally in this race. And there should be a lot more cars coming in on the hook. Cars going behind the wall with damage and trouble. Don't give up on the night. We got a chance to really get either some of these laps back or pass several cars
on the racetrack before this is over. So I could see this car, and that fender missing, that don't bother me none. They'd be able to hang in the draft just fine with that thing. And if he can get all these laps back, he can still get a top 15 finish.
The fender missing doesn't bother you. Okay. We'll have a restart when we come back. The big one happened already. 12 cars involved in this one. NASCAR Fan Rewards is free to join. Earn points all season by watching races or answering trivia, playing fantasy, buying race tickets, and more. You can save your points, trade them in for free tickets, autographed merchandise, there's exclusive NASCAR gear, much more. Visit NASCAR.com/fanrewards. Riding along with Kaz Grala and the Toyota on board as the field's starting to bunch back up again as we get ready for the restart here at Daytona. Let's check in with Sheldon Creed's progress. And Dave.
Yep, Rick, and you know before a restart you get a choose, and now that Sheldon is the leader, he'll get first choice. But remember, he's got his teammate back there. He's got a couple other cars. What are they going to do?
21 wants to know what you're thinking on the choose. If you want him with us, or if you want to do the same thing like before. I mean, I'd prefer him with us. I don't want that 20 pushing me. Yeah, 10-4. We just let the 20 and the 18 have it, so we'll see how that goes.
By have it, I believe they mean have the bottom, and so we'll see how that works out. Yeah, you want your teammate back there. Nothing against John Hunter Nemechek, but 21 behind the two is a pretty strong pairing.
They just went by the choose and they didn't choose. So.
Yeah, we still got one more lap before I believe we get to one to go, and when they come back by, it's going to be halfway into this race. And I know that now this is where it gets interesting as a driver at a race in Daytona. You feel like, hey man, do we need to start going now? Do we need to start picking up the intensity now? It's a very quick race. This 50 laps right here looks like it's went by like that. And so the drivers can tend to pick it up a little bit too soon. There's still a long way to go. I think the intensity continues to the end of this stage, just a few laps left.
Well, 19 of 30.
Yeah.
So not only halfway through, but you're going to drop the green flag with only 9 laps to go in this stage, so that immediately picks the intensity up.
Let's hear from one of the drivers who's out of this race after this most recent incident. Standing by with Nate is Connor Mosak.
So Connor Mosak's Xfinity debut at Daytona. I know this didn't end the way you wanted to. Take us through what happened in that wreck.
Yeah, just saw the replay, so it kind of looked like the 78 might have got loose there off the bottom and got into the 9, and was hoping they were going to go low, and I was just kind of committed to the top there, but obviously they came up in front of me, so kind of unfortunate watching it now. Just felt like I didn't really have anywhere to go. Kind of part of racing here. Just hate it for our guys, hate it for Toyota, Sam Hunt Racing. Our guys work really hard on these cars, and it's been a rough couple weeks for us, but feel good about the rest of the year, so hopefully we can be good at Kansas.
I know it's a short race for you, but your first time here in the Xfinity Series, did you learn anything? Did you feel like it was good up until that point?
Yeah, for sure. We kind of just rode around in the first stage. I was pretty loose in, so we were just kind of managing that. Wanted to get to the end of the first stage where we could get a stop and make an adjustment, and felt like it definitely fired off better there at the second stage, and we were just working our way through the field, and thought we were in a pretty good spot, but just wrong place, wrong time.
All right, Connor Mosak gets caught up in a crash.
And the field now coming to the choose here on the front stretch, just past the start-finish line.
Both of the RCR cars are going to the top. The 48 goes to the bottom.
So Parker Kligerman will have John Hunter Nemechek pushing him on the bottom, where Austin Hill and Sheldon Creed teammates will work together on top, with Sam Mayer there in the 1 also joining that group.
And Parker wasn't in a position to be able to get any stage 1 points, but now starting on the front row, Jeff, like you said, 9 laps to go. Be critical for Parker to find a place to be able to manage himself a top 5 or even a top 3 finish, if not winning the stage outright. This would be an incredible opportunity for him with what's going on with Riley Herbst.
Well, it's extremely important, because you said it earlier, we're probably going to see more wrecks. Well, you could be in that wreck, and right now you haven't made Riley Herbst pay for the mistake they made. Until you go earn points, you haven't done anything. So you gotta go get points in this stage, because they just didn't happen in the first one.
And I want to remind you, Riley Herbst right now is running 32nd. In front of him is Joey Gase running 31st. Joey Gase is 2 laps down. Riley Herbst is 3 laps down. So even if a caution comes out, he's still not eligible for that free pass.
Yeah, and the problem with that is if the caution comes out now, Gase goes 1 lap down, and then he'll go next caution, he'll be the free pass again. So two times in a row, Riley's going to have to wait.
Jeff Burton giving us this great view from the State Water Heaters on board. Restarts and getting up to speed here at Daytona. We'll see how the pack deals with this one. It'll be 10 laps to go in stage 2 when they come back to the start line. This time it's Sheldon Creed on the outside and Parker Kligerman on the inside. Through the restart zone.
The 20 is not to the back of the 48, although a big push coming to the 20. He'll get to the 48 and give him a big push into turn 1.
2 RCR cars trying to work that high line. Sheldon Creed in front of Austin Hill. But here comes the inside line. Parker Kligerman surging ahead, but he lost his help. John Hunter Nemechek drops back.
Sam Mayer pushing that 21 of Austin Hill, pushing his teammate Creed in the number 2 car out front. Almost all 3 cars clear into the lead.
See that 20 car, that purple car, he just cannot get to the rear bumper of Parker. So without getting to that rear bumper, it doesn't create the energy. His car just isn't fast enough to get there and push.
And Trevor Bayne can't get him up there. Trevor Bayne in the 19, third car back on the inside.
Sam Mayer in the 1 car up high there, getting a little bit squirrely. He's backing up on the nose of the 18 behind him. Gonna have a big run down this back straightaway. That's gonna allow that inside line to do a little work here.
And that separated the 2 and the 21. See what it did? They side draft and pulled them apart from each other.
And we saw John Hunter Nemechek move up, and so now that outside line led by Parker Kligerman, John Hunter Nemechek, and here comes Bayne in the 19 on the inside.
The inside line just making a lot of good work right here.
Trevor Bayne door to door now with Kligerman. Is he going to 1?
He cleared him.
Chandler Smith in the 16 also with momentum on the inside. Now that falls off as he tries to side draft the 48.
Here comes the top again. 48 and the 20 going to have a run on Trevor. What do they do down here in the corner? They stay to the top of the racetrack. The 2 car goes to the middle. Just trying to side draft a little bit on that inside line. Now the outside's formed back together. Bayne's going to block a little bit here low. Going to wait for a run up high. Get back in front of that. He's got a pretty big gap here. He's going to have to defend when the field gets back to him.
Both lines now a little momentum on the high side. And Trevor Bayne working both lines now here with under 7 laps to go. Let's go back to Nate.
Brandon Jones is out of the Daytona race here and looked like you just kind of got collected in a crash. Just take us through what you saw.
Dang, kind of tough, man. I don't know. I mean, we were all 3 wide, and it was starting to get closed in as we came through that tri-oval. That tri-oval almost narrows up a little bit, and so everybody typically closes up through there some, and we were kind of in the middle, which is not a terrible place to be to surge forward, but I think, like, once whoever was on the inside of me kind of, I mean, just barely moved up, and I barely moved left. I think just the timing of it really just got each other there, but it's been an up and down year for us for sure. You know, I hate it for our partners at Menards. They deserve a lot better finishing than we've gotten, but today's goal was clear. I mean, it was to go try to win the race. We had a phenomenal stage 1, timed it really well to go get that stage point there and to get, you know, a couple up there on 6. Though I wish we could have finished, but it makes these next 2 weekends very clear what the goal is. It's to go win, and these are some of my better tracks coming up, you know, so we got a good shot at it. We're definitely not out of this thing yet, but hers today, man, I wish we could have finished off because that was going to be a good day to capitalize on some good points.
2 more shots at Darlington and Kansas for Brandon Jones and win in the playoffs.
Yeah, Nate, he's won at Darlington. He's won twice at Kansas, so those are 2 great tracks for him, but he definitely didn't want his night to end as early as it did here at Daytona.
Moves are getting more and more aggressive here as we come to the end of stage 2. Trevor Bain out front throwing the blocks on Chandler Smith. Chandler Smith in the 16 running second with his teammate, the number 11 car of Hemrick. And then Kligerman in the 48 in fourth, all in that outside line. Creed in the 2 in fifth. Not much happening here on the inside, but they are getting runs on Bain, and Bain is having to be pretty aggressive with the blocks. Chandler Smith knows he has a teammate in Hemrick behind him to help him go. Here comes Creed to the inside of Kligerman. He's got help from Austin Hill.
Now we're seeing that inside line get a little bit of movement as Hemrick, what's he going to do? Austin Hill moves up behind him.
Rarely do you see two teammates jump to the bottom and a hole be created for both of them. They both in the 2 and the 21 were able to get to the top. That almost never happens. One normally finds a hole and the next one gets hung out and goes to the back.
Now Chandler Smith doesn't have his teammate with him in Hemrick in the 11. But he's going to get these runs on Trevor Bain coming to 3 to go. Trevor's going to have to be aggressive with the blocks, and he will.
Let's take a look at the Toyota driver update. And up front, it's Trevor Bain. Bain has been up front for 4 laps.
Bain takes them to the bottom. A lot of cars stay up high, getting the momentum. Trevor Bain keeps going to the bottom of 3 because he's worried about them taking the run to the inside. And then he fades high the rest of the corner. Here comes a run on the 2. Creed to the inside for second. He's going to clear. He's going for the lead.
Big run.
Draft.
Big run by Sheldon Creed. Will he have the help from his teammate, the 21 coming up there? Trevor Bain tries the side draft, but both RCR cars are trying to clear Trevor Bain.
Yeah, Kligerman pushing right here. That's going to clear the 21.
Sam Mayer's right there as well on the back bumper of that 48 car as they go down the back straightaway. A big push. Sam Mayer into the back of the 48.
Hill blocking Trevor Bain. So now the 2 and 21 working together. Here comes the 21. Hill goes to the inside. He got a push from the 19. And now Creed falling back.
Hill ditched his teammate.
Here comes Bain. Looking to the outside. Will Hill be able to block you? Coming up on 2 laps to go.
Big run for Creed here on the 19. He's going to stay in the back of Bain here. He's going to push Bain down the straightaway. They're going to have a run on Hill. Easy to defend for the 21 out front. Bain to the inside. He's going to side draft. What a move. Through the middle.
What does Creed do? Creed pushes his teammate.
3 wide for the lead. Parker Kligerman on the inside. Big points available to him at the end of the stage, but he's dropping back quickly.
Parker's going to lose a ton of points right here if they don't wreck.
Yeah, that's the worst spot to be. Getting side draft and no help behind you.
Watch Creed in that 2 car. He does not care about Austin Hill right now. He knows Austin hung him out. That gave him a permission slip to do whatever he needs.
Creed backs up to the nose of Hemrick. Big push coming down the straightaway. Creed to the inside.
And it's 1 lap to go in stage 2.
Hemrick helps Austin Hill. Creed is not clear. Austin Hill coming back by on the outside.
Custer coming to help though. Custer behind the 2 car.
Creed's like, what do I gotta do? I did everything right there. Why did Hemrick not go with me?
And Hill has Creed right behind him now. Hemrick goes up. Cole Custer goes up. Hemrick to the back bumper of Custer.
Custer's got to run on the outside. The 2's loose. Austin Hill to the top. Creed to the inside.
Hill's going to block that high line, but Creed might have the momentum. A race to the finish line for stage 2.
Creed's going to do it. The side draft right there late.
Yeah, buddy.
25 1/1000ths of a second. Sheldon Creed wins stage 2. Wow.
Look at Richard. He's like, I think he's surprised they both made it through there. Richard, the owner of the 2 and the 21.
Creed, Hill, Sammy Smith, Hemrick, Nemechek, Bain, Custer, all up front, fighting for position, and it was Sheldon Creed who wins stage 2. NASCAR Xfinity Series has 2 more races before the playoffs begin. The next stop, the Lady in Black, Darlington Raceway. That's next Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern on USA. Think about that. Go from the world center of racing where NASCAR was born to the first speedway at Darlington Raceway. You're watching the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Wawa 250 from Daytona International Speedway. And what a, I guess I would say, dramatic finish to stage 2. You had so many drivers that looked like they had an opportunity to win. You had teammates that maybe were hanging out their teammates at the end of that one.
That was just dress rehearsal. That wasn't even the main show yet.
Okay.
But you know, this one makes the stage racing so exciting, right? Because I call it a dress rehearsal, but there's some awards being paid, and for Sheldon Creed, 19 points already in the stages has to be just a huge sigh of relief for this 2-car. I know they haven't got the win they wanted, Dave, but 19 points, regardless of what happens in this final stage, has been a good night so far.
Steve, the team talked to Sheldon about how the 21 treated him. Listen.
21 wants you to know that he did not mean to leave us. He was getting such a big push from behind that if he stayed in line with us, he was going to wreck us. So he had to do something. Yeah, I've gotten a few of those tonight, too. It's all good.
Sounds like Sheldon understands. It's all good.
Too
Wow,
big
they
of a
trust
push.
each other.
Yeah, too big of a push. I had a couple of those tonight, too.
So wait a second. Wait. I heard what he said, but you think the tone was like, I'm going to say this, but I don't really believe this? Or do you think that was like...
So now you got to listen to the tone?
Man, I mean, that sounded like I was like, yeah, I'm going to play nice until I have my chance, and then I'm going to go past. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, that's okay, right, Steve? That's all right. But I think Sheldon's tone was, yeah, I get it. That's happened to me a couple of times tonight already. So the 2 is coming to pit road now with the entire field. Sheldon said, I need to, I'm going to get 2 right side tires, he was told, but he'll have to wait on fuel. 21 was told we're going to plan B. I think that's 2 right sides too, Marty.
Cole Custer, bottom left of your screen. They pitted under the last caution. He told Jonathan Toney, we got 3/4 of our problem, which is the car being way too tight. I still need more, still too tight on that run for Cole Custer. A 2-tire stop for the Goodyears there. And Daniel Hiermich, 11 valuable stage points for the 11 team tonight. He said I need a touch more speed, just a little bit to free the land rush off of pit road. A lot of no tires and 2-tire stops here. So a lot of different strategies coming off pit road, Rick.
Yeah, Junior Motorsports went with the no-tire idea, and Sam Mayer gained 8 spots, Allgaier 9, Josh Berry 10.
21 of Austin Hill, he isn't taking left side tires off yet. I think those 2 Goodyears are going to go for the whole duration.
Yeah, watch what Sam Mayer leaves pits, stands in the gas, almost spins that thing out.
And that's how close it was. Racing off of pit road. The restart when we come back. Who will end up in victory lane? Well, we're going to bring in our drivers who have both been there with Jeff Burton, Dale Earnhardt Jr., 2 of the winningest drivers, especially Dale Jr., with your father having such success here as well. All right, guys, what can we expect? More of what we saw in that second stage?
Yeah, I mean, the third stage is just going to ramp up the intensity and all the blocks and everything else. And I think we'll see more of the 2 RCR drivers, Creed and Austin Hill. They're the ones making the moves. They're the ones being aggressive, holding on to the track position. I don't think you're just going to, waltz up there and take it away from them late in the race. They're understanding what works, what doesn't work tonight in the draft, and they're learning the most. So I kind of like what I'm seeing out of those 2 drivers.
Yeah, they got really aggressive right there, and they've been aggressive with each other as well. They've taken runs, taken a lead away from each other. You're going to have to be aggressive if you want to win this race, but I want to know what 3-time Daytona 500 champion Dale Jarrett thinks. If I want to know how to win the race, I definitely got to get your opinion.
Well, guys, by what I saw and what I think we all know is that you can't trust any of these guys. I don't care if they're your teammate or not. So you better get what you can get, not worry about anything else. And if what I saw that they'll do for 1 or 2 points at the end of stage 2, what are they going to do for a trophy and a trip to victory lane in Daytona? This is going to be pretty exciting.
All right, we see the choose and where they will line up. Let's have a look at the Ruoff Mortgage Keys to Victory Lane. And guys, how do you get to victory lane?
Well, who's going to help you? I mean, we've seen it already. You make a move, somebody's going to go with you. If they don't go with you, they're going to hang you out. You're going to the back.
I think the hardest thing to do is keep your nose clean. That means do not wreck, don't get in wrecks. That's kind of up to chance, but you do have a little control over your fate out there.
Well, what's your agenda, right? The 98's having issues. If you're Parker Kligerman, how aggressive do you want to be? How much are you willing to risk to try to win this race?
All right, Dave, that's a great question. How much are you willing to risk to win this race?
I like Dale Jarrett's trust no one attitude. And I think for Sheldon Creed, I think he's a really cool customer. Yeah, he understands that Austin Hill is all about himself and wants to win this race, but he also understands that they need to make moves together. In fact, the last transmission on the radio from Hill was, we just need to make smart moves to the end of this race. Marty?
Hey, Dave, remember how this race started for Justin Allgaier? They had the inspection failures earlier today. Then they had to do the pass-through penalty. We're worried about going down lap. That did not happen. Jim Pullman has called a fantastic race, fuel only on the last 2 stops, and look who is up in the second row, Justin Allgaier. And remember, here in February, Rick, he led on the final lap of the race and did not win here. So Justin Allgaier would love to be able to finally get a Daytona win tonight. It's been a long night, but they're finally up there with a shot at it.
Yeah, Marty, twice he's finished second here at Daytona. Can he get to victory lane, improve that 1 spot, and reach the checkered flag first? 34 laps until we determine the winner here at Daytona. Sam Mayer on the outside and Sheldon Creed on the inside as we're back to racing. Inside line strong now with Creed getting a shove from Austin Hill. Sam Mayer battling back on the outside. 3 wide behind him. Sammy Smith in the 18.
Good organization on the inside there. See how tight they are trying to push each other.
Look at Jeremy Clements in the 51 flyby. Here comes Jeff Burton in the 22. Kaz Gralla with that Toyota onboard watching him go by.
Jeff Burton jumped up there in the middle lane, picked up several spots, and then bailed on that, went to the bottom, feeling like that's a safer move. Great view right here. This is what he can see.
RCR cars still out front, going to the top of the racetrack right now. Cole Custer drug them up there.
It's so important when you're looking with Jeb's car right here. You can't see what's going on in front of the car that's in front of you. You have no idea. That's where the spotter is so important. He's got to be telling you if you can lift or not. Jeb wants to be wide open in the gas, pushing those guys in front of him.
Parker Kligerman back down on the bottom of the racetrack all by himself again. Gibbs Toyota's in the middle now. Bain in the 19. Sammy Smith in the 18.
Yeah, John Hunter Nemechek missed behind him in the 20, so they're all lined up in the middle.
Probably their only shots to work together here late in this race. Sammy Smith dropping back to Trevor Bain now. He's trying to hold himself up there with the side draft. Here comes Bain. Good job by Sammy Smith. Got his car all the way up to the inside of 3rd place, the 00. Cole Custer waiting on another push from behind.
They separate as they go through the turn. Creed and Hill on the high side. Here comes that 18 of Sammy Smith on the inside.
We saw Sammy do this in stage 1, do a really good job side drafting aggressively, waiting on his help from behind, side drafting and waiting. One at a time, getting up alongside these cars, holding that inside line up toward the front. Doesn't have a lot of help, only 4 cars down there. They're gonna have to work hard together to be able to make 4 cars work against all of those cars lined up in the outside line. Sammy's doing it.
He's gotta have forward momentum on corner entry. See right here what happens on the straight? They drive away from him. If he could get forward momentum, see now he's just breaking even. He's not going forward. Watch him in the corner. He's gonna go by these guys in the corner, but there's nowhere to go. It's just simply the shortest way around the racetrack. But this is where it hasn't worked so far. Creed able to stay on his outside, get to that right rear quarter panel. That slows him down. Now he needs push. If he gets a push on corner entry, he can get that momentum and make a pass, but now see, he's going backwards again. Gets to the corner, he's gonna make ground up.
Here comes a little bit of help for the 18 on the inside, back even with Creed for the lead.
It's all about the timing of it. It's just simply that. For Sammy Smith to take this lead, right there he stays even with him. If he can come up and get a push, if the black car behind him can get there, now he's still broke even with him. Watch what happens when he gets in the corner. A big push to the 2, but again, the shortest way around the racetrack, and now there's help.
Trevor Bain's there. That's going to slow down that 2 car. The 18 is clear. Can he take his teammates up to the top of the racetrack? If I'm Sammy Smith, I'm going up high. I'm going to block that top lane.
Sammy Smith, the 19-year-old from Iowa, out in front. Began racing go-karts at 8 years old, and now leading at Daytona.
That shows you right there about the timing, how everything has to work and how you have to make it work. Slow the car behind you down at the right time. Get the push at the right time.
Austin Hill's going to get in the back of this 2 out of the tri-oval. They'll have a big run on Sammy. Sammy jumps up in front of it. Good job there. Now the 2 to the inside. That's going to easily clear for the lead.
And now the teammates have a car in between them. But here comes Trevor Bain in the 19.
What you're worried about right now is the outside forming up. Oh, big push. 21 lifted. You saw the fire come out of the exhaust pipes. He had Sammy Smith all but wrecked on the back straightaway. Great job, everybody.
And here comes Trevor Bain. Bain to the inside for the lead.
Watch this right here. Big push. Sammy Smith, big trouble right there. See the sparks as we ride along.
Now they got Sammy Smith in the middle down there at the bottom of the screen. The live action. Still side by side for the lead. Trevor Bain and the 2 of Creed on the outside.
Here comes a little momentum on that high side. Creed going to get some help from Hill. They stay side by side here at Daytona. Next Saturday, September 2nd, the Big Ten comes to NBC and Peacock when West Virginia visits Penn State. Premiere of Big Ten, Saturday night. Trevor Bain out in front now with Parker Kligerman running second on that high line. Sammy Smith in the 18. It's been a wild ride last 2 or 3 laps for Sammy Smith. Sheldon Creed in the 2 on the outside, that 3rd car on the high line. And the 21 of Austin Hill, the 4th car back. The 19, Trevor Bain. Take a look at how loose he was here.
Nemechek just trying to push him to help him. Believe it or not, this did help him. I thought it was going to take him out of the race, but this big push right here, look how loose he got. He still got the lead.
This inside line's been doing some good work over the last handful of laps, and it's allowed the Toyotas to get the lead. It's allowed the field to shuffle the RCR cars back outside of the top 3. I would commit to this bottom groove, especially with Trevor Bain, Sammy Smith, Nemechek, all Joe Gibbs Toyotas in that bottom line. I would just stay down there and keep working together. I wouldn't be pulling up here in front of that 48 and helping those guys. I would only block them when I could, block their runs. Otherwise, I try to stay together. Now, see, that's what happens. It busts everything up. Now the 20's in the middle getting sent backwards. Trevor Bain's now at the top lane, blocking both.
Guys, doesn't it just feel like there's something big about to happen here?
Yeah, they're underneath Sammy Smith.
You can't depend on anyone. Teammates, nothing. Seems to be making sense, right? Feel like everywhere you go, somebody's taking advantage of you or passing you or side drafting you.
I like Sam Mayer's aggression, though, with 22 to go. You can't wait to 5 to go and think you're going to get here. He's being aggressive, taking that 3-wide move, trying to get some track position, while out front, the 19 of Trevor Bain continues to lead. Let's listen into the communication with the spotter.
First 6 are single file now. Half back. That's it. Top lane's really working here.
Not a lot of help on that bottom lane.
That's it. Just watch it keep backing up on you. 1. Stay in 1. The 2 backs up right there. He backs away from him. Gap of 1. He's half in here, Mir. Now he's backing up. Watch your gap. Stay in 1. Stay in 1. Stay in 1. All right, 2 comes back to him. Half back. Half on you. 2 has a car right with him, staying tight.
Single file.
Starting to get a bottom lane working again. 5 rows back.
Think about that. Single file, and he didn't get off the radio button for 2/3 of a lap.
Right. Stevie Reeves was the voice we were hearing there, right?
Yeah, and you talk about a guy that knows his business. That's a man that has driven the IndyCar in the Indy 500. Like Stevie Reeves knows how to race, veteran on top of the roof. And how about the tone, the delivery? Yeah. He sounds like he's sitting next to Trevor Bayne, just having a discussion.
Great move there by Creed in the 2. He had the momentum, drove to the bottom.
He took one spot away from Parker Kligerman. Realized he wasn't going to be able to try to pass Bayne, jumps back in that top groove, but this allows that inside line a little momentum. Big shove coming from the 1 to the 7 down into turn 3. Trevor Bayne, not enough of a run to be able to get up. There he goes to the bottom of the racetrack, blocking that run Mayer had, back to the top of the racetrack. Trevor Bayne's dancing out there, man. To not have many starts this year, this stuff here comes natural. Daytona 500 winner. Does everything he can to keep this track position.
Trevor Bayne is the 6th different driver in the 19 this year. There's been wins by Ty Gibbs and Ryan Truex already in the 19. Bayne out front here at Daytona. Mayer still out front. Jeb Burton trying to make that inside line work. This style of racing continuing tomorrow. Countdown to green at 7 o'clock for the Cup Series. They'll race just after 7:30 as Allgaier goes to the high side for the lead. And again, NASCAR America post-race show streaming on Peacock just after the checkered flag for tomorrow's race. Allgaier now leading at Daytona.
And purple car Nemechek went to the middle. That got some help coming with his teammate.
That affects the energy on the inside. That's not a good thing for Jeb Burton now. He has no help behind him. Coming off of turn 2, he'll be on the bottom and likely lose more positions.
Mayer looking to the high side. Did he clear? Just.
He didn't clear.
Yeah,
so
he went down.
Yeah, he had to move back down the racetrack, but his teammate gets up there and blocks the run from the 19 car.
What's going to happen with Mayer? He doesn't have help right now. He's going to need Jeb Burton to come up there.
Sammy Smith goes to the bottom to help Jeb. Doesn't help his own teammate here of Nemechek. Sam Mayer needs a lot of help here.
Allgaier working that high line just in front of Trevor Bayne. The laps continue to wind down. Under 14 to go.
Yeah, the drivers know it too. This race has flown by. It's gotten here really quickly. Intensity's starting to pick up. The blocks are getting more aggressive.
Remember that battle right at the bubble between Kligerman and Riley Herbst. Herbst still scored 32nd. Kligerman fighting in the top 5.
Big run there down the back straightaway into turn 3. The 19's going to clear for the lead. He can get up the racetrack here in front of the 7. Trevor Bayne back to the lead.
Now Mayer trying to figure out, will Allgaier come out? Will they work together?
Allgaier's not going anywhere without a run. Right now he doesn't have any momentum. Nothing worth really taking a move for. He's going to need that same sort of a run like Bayne had down the back straightaway.
They're too wide behind that 2 car of Creed, so that means there's not a lot of pushing that Creed's going to be able to do. Now here comes some. Watch what happens. Gets right to him, and now the 7's going to get a run. What does he do with it?
Oh, the 21 to the inside of Parker Kligerman. The 2 to the inside.
Wow. And the 21 of Hill got down on the yellow line, and it shot him back up the racetrack. He was able to catch it. Now the 2 teammates. Look at the run that Hill has.
The field felt good about getting the RCR cars kind of slid out of track position, but they've found their way back towards the front.
And now, under 12 to go. Bayne back out front. Here comes Creed. Trevor Bayne, Austin Hill, 1 and 2. Coming up on 8 laps to go. Jeb Burton's not going to be able to save it. He slides sideways in front of about 18 cars. They're sliding behind him. The caution comes out.
A little bit of contact there behind. We thought it was just a 1-car single spin, but it looks like we have a couple cars caught up in this. 43 of Ryan Ellis and the 44 car, Cesar Baccarella.
And the 10 car also, Justin Haley got in this. Looked like Jeb got loose off of 4.
Wasn't sure whether he got some help or not, but man, he tried his hardest to get that car under control. Almost was able to do it. And the field did a really good job of all sort of backing down a little bit and trying to give Jeb the chance.
See, Haley had been involved in something earlier. Baccarella stops on the racetrack. There's Ryan Ellis being attended to by the AMR safety crew. Ryan, another one of those drivers who began racing at the age of 4. So this 33-year-old has been racing for a very long time, and he gets caught up in this incident. It almost seemed as though with Jeb Burton sliding sideways, this incident happened way behind them. Like they were all checking up, trying to avoid knowing something was going to happen.
Yeah, the 22 definitely caused the incident behind it, but not because of contact. To your point, I don't know if it was somebody checking up. You see the frustration, but I mean, I thought he had it. It was a 180-mile-an-hour slide in both directions, and I think he just finally got behind on the steering.
They're still working on that car. Let's take a look.
Yeah, so he's like the 4th car on the bottom, the bright yellow and black 22.
He just gets loose. He got loose right there in front of the field. Everybody trying to check up. Almost gets it under control.
See right here, this car comes around on him quickly, and now he's in survival mode. He did a really good job, but you just get behind on the steering, and you almost, it's hard to do, Junior. You almost just at that point need to just crank it back to the left and spin it out and hope you don't hit anything, but that is so hard to do.
To be honest with you, the damage there doesn't look too bad. Look at the 78, he's wrecking. Everybody was loose off this corner. These cars are a real handful. This track is aging and getting slicker and slicker. Everybody's been talking about being loose all night long.
You said it, that hit to the wall. It's right along.
With the slower steering boxes they run here at the Speedway, this is some heavy-duty work. I mean, this is hand-over-hand corrections. And you mentioned it, Dale, not a lot of damage. Trying to look up at the top of the screen, I was trying to see what they right here behind it.
It should be it right here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the 10 checked up.
Oh, nasty shot to the inside wall right there for Ryan Ellis.
Watch what happens right here. Aerodynamically, as soon as he got next to the 2 car, that's when you could actually hear him get loose. Get next to the car, it takes air off the spoiler, takes side force away from the car. You're already compromised here because you want the car to be slippery through the air. You don't want to make downforce. Already a little bit loose, get there and around the car goes. See, right there, it immediately came around on him. He wasn't expecting it. We were riding along. He was wide open in the gas. He had no indication that he was going to be loose.
A big hit right there for Ryan Ellis. Hits that inside wall.
Yeah, it looks like Caesar gets in the back of the 10 right there. The 10 sliding down the track. Ellis reacts to that. And I'm going to tell you, that looks like a hard hit, but that wall used to be angled even more aggressively many, many years ago. That would have spit that car back out into traffic. What you got, Marty?
Well, Jeb Burton driving the paint scheme to honor his dad's Ward's 2002 win here in the Daytona 500. He actually did say on the radio, he said, that just got away from me, as you guys said, got way too free. He said, I felt that coming for about 5 laps, just with the way the energy was moving in the pack. Something was going to happen, just snapped loose on Jeb Burton, the Talladega winner here. 6 laps to go. The other interesting piece to this, Steve, is that, you know, on the fuel number, if you were running up front, I think there's a lot of teams thinking, hey, it's not very tight, but if they go into a few overtimes here, I think fuel could start to become a concern for everyone.
Well, the big question is how much fuel they put in, because from lap 63, it shouldn't be an issue to go 37 laps. We think they can go nearly 50. But when you look up and down and see 4 and 2 tires and no tires, that tells me that, you know, they were waiting on gas or perhaps didn't wait on gas. So we don't know when the last time the cars are actually full of fuel.
Crew still working on Jeb Burton's number 22. A couple cars are going to make their way onto pit road. Dave?
The 8 of Josh Berry, it's just been free all night. One of those, another car that's been free. So they're going to make more adjustments, air pressure this time, put on some left side tires and send him back out. See what they can do, Marty.
Yeah, Jonathan Tony asked Cole Custer, hey, what do you want to do here? He said, well, I know we're not going to be able to win like this. He said the car just fell off way too much at the end of the run. So 4 Goodyear tires here, some fresh ones for Cole Custer, hoping to make a run up through the field. Still 5 to go. We'll see what these guys can do once it goes back green.
And I like these calls for tires. I know we talk about they're wide open and where the runs come from, but 4 tires will allow you to be aggressive on the steering and push people to this level of uncomfortableness with their car.
Victory Lane in Daytona, this is a special place.
Thank you, Jesus, baby! Yes!
That's the best Victory Lane feeling, is being in Daytona.
Way to get it done, boys. Way to get it done.
Daytona 500! Holy crap!
It's Austin Dillon who wins at Daytona.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has won the Daytona 500.
Let's go, boys! Woo!
Saying special is an understatement. And tomorrow, the Cup Series back on the high banks here at Daytona. Countdown to green kicks us off at 7 o'clock on NBC and Peacock. And racing just after 7:30. Of course, NASCAR American Post Race on Peacock just after the checkered flag wave. And it's the final race of the regular season. There's only 1 spot left in the playoffs. Right now, Bubba Wallace holds it based on points, but there are 17 drivers that can win at Daytona and take that last spot.
32 points is a decent gap, but anything can happen in Daytona. An early issue for Bubba Wallace could put Ty Gibbs in the position to make up those points. But let's not forget, Bubba is a very good restrictor plate driver, and it's going to be, I think he could be one of the drivers that could win.
All right, let's bring in the Peacock pit box, and we'll start right now with KP. All right, tomorrow's race, a lot on the line for so many drivers to make the playoffs.
Listen, I'm watching this race. We're getting blasted here by these jet drivers. I feel like I'm in a dirt track somewhere. But I am going to say this. All you got to know is tomorrow is the final race of the regular season, and there's 1 spot on the line. If you think this is intense, wait till tomorrow.
No doubt.
Yeah, exactly. Brad, your driver's been in this situation before with Ricky Stenhouse. Fortunately for y'all, he took care of that early on with the Daytona 500 win. I saw you smiling a while ago when they were showing that once
Absolutely.
again. But what's it like as a pressure from a car owner in a situation like this tomorrow night?
Yeah. So we go into tomorrow, and this is like you said, he loves this type of racing. So when I talked to Ricky today, he's like, man, we're going to go and try to win. We need to get points. Let's start working on firming up our positions when we get into the playoffs. That's what we want to do. That's what we're going to try to accomplish, to win a championship. Who knows? So we're going to this thing to try to win tomorrow night, to get as many points as we can to work towards winning a championship.
Rick? Yeah, sounds like everybody wants to win.
That's tomorrow. We have got 2 laps of racing to go here for the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, so what's the goal right now? If you're the 19 car of Trevor Bayne, he has been the most aggressive blocker in this entire race. But right now, his goal is to get that 21 car to lock bumpers and push. Don't push too much. If you lock bumpers past turn 2, they're going to penalize you on this restart. But get all the push you can right here.
Trevor Bayne and Allgaier making up row 1. Right behind him, Parker Kligerman.
The moments I've been waiting for 10 months.
That was Trevor Bayne. He knows what it feels like to win here at Daytona.
Yeah, some guys are racing for their careers. Trevor Bayne is one of those guys. He has to win. He feels like to be able to find himself back in this sport full time.
Just a few off races for Trevor Bayne. And now behind the wheel with 2 laps to go. Allgaier on the inside, Bayne on the outside. A clean restart. Hill goes up. He blocks the 19. They catch the 2, and the 1 goes around. The 19 of Bayne sliding to the inside. Caution has come out. We see the 22 of Jeb Burton also involved. And now Kaz Gralla looks back on who made it through that incident. Chandler Smith didn't in the 16. There's Smith, Sammy Smith with damage in the 18.
A
lot of damage for Austin Hill.
That right there, Austin Hill. He is certainly one of the fastest cars out here. A lot of damage. Also the 20 car. Big damage on that. This late race restart, everybody has to be aggressive, Junior. You got to push, you got to shove. You get a chance to make a move, you have to make it. But this is what happens.
Watch the 19 and the 21 in the outside line. Trevor Bayne gets a little push right there. The 21's going to go to the top. Bayne blocks it, and it's a late block. 21 was there. He had about an inch or two on the 19. Trevor went up the racetrack to try to block a car that had a move on him.
And a big push from the 16 to get the 21 there.
I think it's as simple as that. An aggressive move by the 21, and the 19 throws a block that he feels is required to win the race. In the end, there's just not enough space, and it's a bit too late.
Tight with you. Bottom lane side as well. All tight. All tight. Just start watching those mirrors here.
I'm not so sure that Austin Hill even meant to get there. He got hit
I was
from behind.
Chandler Smith in the 16 got into the back of Austin.
And I'm not sure the 19 wants to keep blocking. It's like he catches him on the right rear and it just moves the 19. He definitely makes one move to the right.
Yeah,
and then as soon as they touch bumpers, it's over.
When you watch from the in-car of the 21, he makes the movement with the steering wheel to go right. He thinks, man, I'm in a good position. This is on Kaz Grala's car. We'll see how he...
Going out the back, 00 is pushing, wrecking up here.
Manages this wreck, little contact right there on the right front.
Lower, all the way down, all the way down, all the way down. Now work your way up, up, work your way up, up.
But I think Austin Hill made a move, which I thought was a great move, to ditch the 19 to the middle and try to continue to get help from behind. He goes up the racetrack. 19 blocks it. He just wasn't clear.
Just, it's aggressive racing. Here we go. 16 was right behind, pushing the 21. And that's what we talked about. That's honestly what you want. You want the guy behind you pushing you. Here we go again. Watch 16 get to the 21. And about the time he gets to him, he feels like he has a run. Kind of moves the 19 a little bit. Pops up there. Game on.
You know what I love about that move of the 21? I know it didn't work, but it was decisive. Like when he decided to move to the right, it wasn't a slow move. Like he changed lanes with some serious intent to try to get to the right rear quarter panel.
It's good, just hard racing. It's, you come here to Daytona, Talladega, and you have to be willing to block. You have to be willing to make these moves if you're going to win. Dave.
Rick mentioned earlier, just 19 years old, Sammy Smith, and this is just his 24th start. So all night long, there's been a lot of coaching on the radio trying to get him to do the right things. In fact, even one time he said, I'm going to do this, or I can do what you guys want me to do. So Sammy's been learning all night, just couldn't avoid that one. Heavy damage on the left front.
See Chandler Smith, the left front, tearing up the fender as he's trying to get back to pit road. Listen into the radio of the 19.
I knew he was going to do it, but what a... He pulled out. It wiggled you. He hit you as he pulled out. Yeah, I mean, he was locked on my bumper when he turned out of line.
Yeah, so what he's saying is he's locked on the bumper, so when he turns, it turns the 19 car. He's saying, look, I didn't try to block him. It's just he's locked on my bumper, and when he makes that move, his front bumper drags his rear bumper, the 19 car's rear bumper. Yeah, so that's what he's saying. Like, he didn't make that move to block. It's he got put in that situation.
But if that's the case, wouldn't he have turned left?
Well,
I mean, if he was bringing that rear bumper, it would have sent him left, wouldn't it?
So what happened is when the 21 goes to the right, it turns the 19 sideways to the left, and he's correcting to the right against that.
Yeah.
And it's just a little contact with the corners. Same thing we sort of saw in the tri-oval earlier in the race with the 9 and the 78. It takes very little to get these cars out of control. They hook the bumpers right here. Neither one of them can sort this out at that point, and it's just mass chaos.
Yeah, by that radio of the 19, it doesn't sound like he was thinking, hey, I was going to block him. It was, hey, my car was driving me that way, right? Like, we're seeing it in slow motion. He had to make a split-second decision, and it seems like he's confident in saying, I didn't mean to go and block. It was just the contact of our bumpers had my wheel turned to the right. You mentioned that sticky stuff on the rear bumpers, but here we are, 100 laps into the race. These bumpers have been beat and banged. They're nowhere near as smooth as they were 2 hours ago. So when you move left to right, they kind of grab a little bit like sandpaper, and that can steer the car much easier than it would have earlier in the race.
And after all of that, there were two cars out front that were able to scoot ahead, Allgaier and Kligerman. Let's hear from Parker Kligerman's crew chief, Patrick Donahue, is with Nate.
Indeed, Rick. So Parker Kligerman's been telling us all week it's all about max points throughout the race and then go for the win. Here he is. He's second for this overtime restart. He's exactly where he wants to be. What's the plan here for the final restart, and how do you think Parker's driven?
Parker's done great. I mean, the Spike Coolers car has been up front all night, and we've been aggressive on pit road. Guys did great. We got a fast car, and he's been learning, and that took out a lot of great cars. So we're gonna hopefully start on the front row. We were able to get the lead last time we started up there, and hopefully tonight's our night. I think we're gonna have some vodka in victory lane. So we'll see.
All right, Parker Kligerman trying to bring it home.
Nate, let's chat with Jim Pullman, the crew chief for Justin Allgaier. Man, when you and I were talking earlier this afternoon, did you dream you'd be in this spot in an overtime position?
Well, sure. I mean, we hoped we were going to get back up there, Yeah, it's been a difficult night not getting any stage points, and we put ourselves behind the 8-ball early. That's been a struggle, but yeah, he's done a really good job, him and Eddie, going through there and methodically picking them off and getting us in the right spot there. So.
I've heard you mention fuel to Justin twice. I've heard Eddie DeHaan tell him max save here under caution. Is there a concern on fuel?
No, not a concern. It's just a pickup. We made a mistake at Atlanta. We didn't keep the pickup full, and it cost us a late race really good finish. So we're in the same situation here. We can definitely go the distance. We're good for a couple overtimes. It's just not stumbling on the restart.
There you go. Jim Pullman has done a terrific job. Remember, they had that pass-through penalty on lap 1 of the race. Justin Allgaier in a spot to get his first ever Daytona win, Rick.
What do you think about this? Allgaier choosing the inside line.
Well, I mean, the inside's been pretty good tonight. It's not been a bad way to go, and I think, he's got a very, very fast car behind him, the number 2. But look at some of the names there in that top 10. Anthony Alfredo, Jeffrey Earnhardt, Golding.
Yeah, Parker Retzlaff.
There's some people that, traditionally come into these races. This is their opportunity to get those runs, to get those good finishes.
Well, look at the stats. Pretty easy. Allgaier and Custer, they've won races in the top 20 on the left side. You see the pylon, all those names you mentioned. It's unbelievable.
Dave.
And remember, Retzlaff in the 31 car, he was one of those cars that had to go to the rear at the start of the race, had to do a pass-through just after the green flag. So he told me earlier today, I love all speedways, but I love the super speedways, and I just hope I can bring it home in one piece. Right now, he's in one piece and in the top 10.
Listen in to 48 radio here.
You can do this, okay? You're the man. We've been here before. You got the lead, okay? Come on, buddy. Do it.
See the 7 on the flat. I like that pep talk on the 48 between crew chief and driver. And the 7, you heard the crew chief mention about the stumble. So what he's doing right now is making sure the fuel cell pickup is full of fuel. There's no air in the fuel line. So when he goes to max fuel consumption, wide open throttle, the car will accelerate cleanly. And I like the bottom because with the double yellow line to your left, if you're Allgaier, you kind of force the 2 and the 31 to push you. Versus the 48, he's going to have to be looking to his right to make sure the 11 doesn't get there.
Yeah, we saw how vulnerable the lead car on the outside was on the last restart. Good point. Pick that bottom. Plus, on the bottom, you can tell the 2 when you're going. No one else will be able to see that.
Plus, you got the 2 behind you. That's probably the fastest car left on the track.
It's overtime, presented by Credit One Bank. Back into the gas they go. 2 laps remaining. Kligerman on the outside, trying to get back even with Allgaier. They're spread out. The top 2 rows coming closer together now.
3 wide there back in row 3. Cole Custer to the top of the racetrack. Good organization on the bottom of the racetrack right now. The 31, the 2, the 7.
Custer coming to the middle. That's going to slow that outside line down.
Cole Custer tried that inside line. He had the momentum. Now he's got a little bit of help from Gray Galding behind him, and then we've got another issue. The 92's around. John Hunter Nemechek in the 20s involved. Josh Berry in the 8, also with damage. Jeff Burton, more damage in the 22.
Big fire right there. He's got to stop. This car's still on fire underneath. Engine compartment for Nemechek.
See the window net coming down. Jeremy Clements, huge damage to the 51.
Winner a year ago. Was hoping to repeat that feat. The 92 of Josh Williams.
See Perkins in the 02, also quite a bit of damage. There's John Hunter Nemechek out of the 20. A lot more drivers headed to the infield care center.
And that goes back to that, fuel concern for the 7. They didn't burn a lot under green. They barely, they run about a half a lap probably at wide open throttle, but even under yellow, burning a little bit of gas. Let's take a look at what happened.
So right there, we know the 8 cars in it, in the middle of the screen right there. Oh, the 02 Perkins gets down the racetrack into the right rear of the 92. Just getting a shove that turned him left into the 92.
Brett Moffitt involved in the 25.
A lot of pushing and shoving right here. And, cars aren't driving. When you get pushed like that, the cars don't drive straight. They're just banging into each other, and eventually they just run out of. Look at that right there. Cars all the way in the air.
Looked like Jordan Anderson, the 27, is back there pushing Perkins and just got Perkins out of shape.
Jordan Anderson, remember, ran that truck race last year at Talladega. Big fire, he got burned.
Yeah, 2nd and 3rd degree burns for Jordan Anderson.
His first race back since then.
Jeff knew it was coming.
Check.
That hit for the 92 you pointed out, that thing was way up in the air. Good work by the safety devices to keep that car back on the ground. You're going to see it right here as they all turn sideways. The white and blue car. There's the contact. It looks harmless from this angle. From the other angle, though, we saw just how much air there was underneath that car.
Yeah, all 4 tires off the ground for Josh Williams in the 92.
Cole Custer made that big move to the middle on those fresher tires. To your point, Jeff, about being pushed, the cars dance all around. I'm not sure how much more grip newer tires get you, but definitely got to help.
Yeah, that wreck started 3 rows ahead, Just guys pushing each other, knocked people out of line, and just an accordion effect. Couldn't get slowed down, and these guys got swept up in it. That's where it started.
Close to top speed as they were going into turn 3. The caution comes out. We'll try a second overtime when we return to Daytona. Allgaier out in front. Kligerman running second. In overtime because of this right here. The craziness. About 10th on back, including Josh Williams getting up in the air. So the chaos takes a couple more cars out, but there'll be another attempt at overtime. All right, Steve, we started the day off. You used, I think, the word speed, danger, and aggression. Are we seeing that all again on this next attempt at overtime?
Yeah, and underline aggression about 3 or 4 times. Now's the time. Everybody started the day. Drivers, survive, get to the end, make your move. Well, we're here now. We're at the end. If you're going to make a move, now's the time. The question is, where do you start, and is there a line that is too much? At what level is the aggression just too much for the drivers to handle?
Well, I just hope we can get back to the checker without tearing up more race cars, man. It's tough watching that happen, but you got to get the right help and the right pushes when you can and make the moves to be able to, make the pass that you need to make. But it needs to probably happen late in that lap, either going into turn 3 or coming off turn 4, a little side draft late, and hopefully you're the first one across the finish line, Jeff.
If you don't push a guy in front of you, you're not going to win. If you do push a guy in front of you, you're probably going to wreck. It's just a difficult situation that you get put in on these racetracks. If you're not willing to get up there and push that guy, hit the back of that bumper, your line's not going to move. But we just saw what happens when you don't get it right.
Just after 10 o'clock here on the East Coast. 29 cars have been involved in incidents today. As we look at the playoff standings, you saw that 29. Well, back in 2019, we had that same number. In 22, August of 22, 31 cars involved. Nate.
Here with Austin Creed's crew chief, Jeff Stankiewicz. You're in good shape here, but you're right on that cut line just above it. What's the plan here for trying to win this race or make sure you avoid the crash here?
Yeah, I don't think there's much we can do to avoid the crash, obviously, but we just need to stay in line and hopefully get a good, clean start here. Hopefully nobody behind us gets us. We had a good points today with stage points, and that's really what we needed. We've had a rough season, a lot of bad luck with us this year. So if we can just finish this thing strong, I think we can win the race. I think we got a better car, but, you know, we're all racing that 48 for a playoff spot. So it just depends on how it plays out. As long as we get the right pushes to the right time, this is all about being in the right place at the right time.
All right, there's the outlook for Austin Creed, overtime restart.
And the right place at the right time is the checkered flag in 2 laps.
Well, there's a lot of names inside those top 6 or 8 that could completely change it. Look at that 31 of Retzlaff, the 45 of Earnhardt. If one of those drivers win, everything we've been thinking about with the playoffs will be upside down.
Allgaier. Kligerman, row 1. Daniel Hemrick back there in row 2 with Sheldon Creed. Creed's never won in the Xfinity Series. Could it happen tonight at Daytona? Back into the gas they go, diving into turn number 1. Out of line, the 45 is going to start to fall back. And Allgaier now has cleared both lines.
That's a pretty good shove on the inside line. Big runs coming from both sides, though.
Now Allgaier has to block. He's got Hemrick looking. Here comes Kligerman with a run. He gets a shove.
Kligerman did not take the run. Now he does. Now he jumps to the outside of the 11 car. Now he's hoping for help. He's cleared, almost cleared Hemrick in the 11. Here comes the 2. That will give him big momentum coming to the 7.
Big run from the 48 here.
What does he do with it? He stays behind the 7, and they spin behind. The 26 goes around. So Kaz Grala sliding, but they stay green.
He's on pit road. I think they can keep coming.
Side by side for second.
Sparks coming out of the 7. As he goes through turn 1, is there an issue? Up the racetrack he goes to block the 48, now back down to block the 2. Allgaier, a car length and a half in front.
Everybody's down in that bottom lane. Good pushes coming on the bottom here. The 11 and the 2, big run.
Creed, what's he gonna do with it? He looked high. Now he's side by side for the lead. Sheldon Creed, a half a car length ahead. Could this be the night? Here comes Allgaier. He's got momentum. They're side by side. Allgaier at the line. He'll win at Daytona. Twice he's finished second. Tonight, he finishes one spot better and gets the win at Daytona.
Really comes down to who can get the side draft.
I don't even know what to say,
at the very last minute.
Y'all are awesome.
The veteran, 37-year-old Allgaier has won at the biggest tracks.
A lot of bad luck for this team throughout the season. They've had plenty of speed at just about every race they've been at, especially in the last 4 or 5 weeks. Big win for this team to finally get all that bad luck behind them heading into the playoffs.
Creed 5 1/1000ths of a second away from his first Xfinity Series win.
He put himself in incredible shape going into turn 3, made a great move.
He did everything right. It just didn't work out. You know, he did everything right. He got the points he needed that his crew chief spoke about, that Richard Childers spoke about. Got good stage points, finished second in the race, had a great shot to win the race. Huge disappointment he didn't win for him, but that was mission accomplished for that team. But never count this guy out. Justin Allgaier, he's just so good at what he does. Just never, ever count him out. Remember, they had to come down pit road, start of the race to serve a penalty.
Yeah, they did a pass-through penalty right after the green flag. Inspection issues before qualifying. And now Allgaier is going to celebrate at the World Center of Racing. The 37-year-old, a veteran of the Xfinity Series. And this is his first win on a drafting track in 46 starts. Dave's right down there with them.
You hear the emotion from the team. They know that for Justin Allgaier, this is big. They know about Daytona too. And Allgaier has just won for the first time at the World Center of Racing. Driver who is a veteran in this series, went to the Cup Series, came back, and now doing winning things for Junior Motorsports. And tonight, it's at the biggest venue it can be. Justin Allgaier, you have finally won at Daytona. Get a drink of water.
First of all, to all the fans out here, thank y'all. I've been coming to this place a long time. I wanted to win here so bad, and we've been so close. And this team, I just can't say enough. Jim Pullman, everybody on this 7 team, everybody at Junior Motorsports. Obviously, our Helmets Camaro was amazing tonight. To come through the adversity that we had to come through and to not really be sure what we were going to have there at the end. You know, we did all the things we needed to do, and pit crew were lights out. Eddie DeHaan, my spotter, was fantastic. Wish my family was here. You know, they're not here. We got softball tomorrow, so I'm disappointed they're not here. Miss Evelyn, it is Miss Evelyn Brandt's 100th birthday today. 100th birthday, and that's special, man. You know, Michael McDowell said it after Indy. He said, God is good, man, and there's nothing, oh, did I win? I think I did, right? That angle looks bad, doesn't it?
No, you're definitely the winner.
You know, honestly, just the end there, the pushes, I can't thank them guys enough for the pushes that we had. Just cannot say enough about the Hendrick Engine Department, all of our partners, Chevrolet, Brandt, Hellman's, Unilever, all of our partners, Unilever. Just so many people to thank, it's just unbelievable. So, yeah, this is going to be a good one for sure.
Justin, you mentioned the adversity. The day started awkwardly. You had to come from a pass-through penalty.
Yeah, I mean, we had an oversight yesterday when we got to the track and put a car through inspection that just wasn't where we wanted to roll it through inspection. And unfortunately, you know, that cost us a pass-through. And the team never quit, never gave up, and we rallied. And obviously, we put ourselves in a good position. And the strategy was awesome, and it was pretty awesome.
Look around. How much will you treasure this?
More than you know. You know, the flag right there, Chant USA, thank y'all. This is the best country in the world, and it's, man, it's special. This is Daytona. This is one of the iconic places in the world, and I'm just so thankful to be here.
And Justin Allgaier is a winner at Daytona, Rick.
Well, Justin Allgaier is now going to head to the Ruoff Mortgage Victory Lane, one of the most famous ones in all of racing here at Daytona International Speedway. The crowd saw it. We saw the replay over and over. 5/1000ths of a second. That's tied for 4th closest margin of victory ever in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Allgaier gets his win at Daytona. And now for Junior Motorsports, 8 different drivers have won for Junior Motorsports at Daytona. That is a Xfinity Series record. We'll have plenty more from Allgaier, the team, and the other drivers from here at Daytona when we return. Second win this season for Justin Allgaier. He's going to make his way to the Ruoff Mortgage victory lane. Want to take a look at the points. Remember, Parker Kligerman and Riley Herbst were separated by 3 points when this race started. Now 20 points separate those two.
Well, it could have been much worse. The 98 had mechanical issues early, got laps down, and really had nowhere to go all day long. But these late accidents brought the 98 all the way up to the 24th position in the race, saving him a good 15 points or so towards the end. Parker did a nice job, though, finishing in 4th.
Justin Allgaier gets a few more playoff points. Those are so important when we close into the playoffs. You look at the John Hunter Nemechek with 30, Austin Hill with 24. Those points will help you through the rounds if you happen to stumble or have any issues. More points for Justin helps their chances to make that Final Four.
Let's check in with the guy who now is in that 12th position. Parker Kligerman's with Dave.
And Rick, he knew early that there were problems for Riley Herbst, so you had that going on in your head a little bit, and then you ran up front most of the night, save maybe for early when you tried some things. Assess the day for us.
Yeah, stage 1, I didn't execute that well. Tried some things, got shuffled out, and then tried some more things, trying to just say, whatever, we could take a point or two or try and figure out how I could get back to the front. That didn't work, but I went to Big Machine Racing, and this brought us fast Spike Light cooler Chevy. Obviously putting ourselves in the top 5 late when put in position there. But the 7 was in the best position because the 2 didn't want to push me, the 11 didn't want to push me, and then I lined up on that last restart, or the last lap, and I got the 00 behind me, and I'm trying to back up to him, and he keeps backing up further, and I'm thinking, what's going on? And then I realized, wait a second, he's the 98's teammate. So he admitted afterwards he didn't want to push us, so we really had no help. And that's a tough way to go and try and take the lead. We still had a run off 4, it just didn't materialize. But proud of these guys. We had a car that was almost as fast as Xfinity 10G Internet, and another top 5, which we could keep clicking these off the next 2 weeks. We'll be fine to make ourselves in the playoffs. And if we do this in the playoffs, I'm feeling very confident about moving on round and round. But proud of this team. This is a big effort, for a single car team like this with no real teammates out there to find ourselves up front every one of these. I'm happy about that.
Well done. A lot to be proud of for a single car team. Ricky mentioned it. They're small, but they're mighty.
And there are very few cars that weren't involved in incidents tonight. 30 cars were involved in some type of incident in tonight's race.
Well, we talked at the start of this show, what was this race all about? Aggression was one thing, but also opportunity. And I know it wasn't a win for some of these drivers, but when you look at the final rundown, right? Parker Retzlaff finished 6th, Ryan Sieg 7th, Anthony Alfredo 8th, Greg Galding 9th, Jeffrey Earnhardt 11th, and that's what super speedway racing and drafting style racing does to these smaller teams, gives them an opportunity to be in the picture.
Yeah, and so many times we see drivers have troubles and others not execute on it. Riley Herbst had a mechanical failure. He finished 24th. The 2 guys that are racing him finished 2nd and 4th, and they gained the first amount of points in Creed, and Kligerman gained the 5th amount of points. So a good job of taking advantage of the problem with Herbst.
Yeah, the great thing about the Xfinity Series is unlike the Cup guys, their final race of the regular season is tomorrow. The Xfinity cars, 2 more races, Darlington and Kansas, going to be full of action with these drivers with several scenarios going forward. Parker, the 98 car Herbst, it's going to be fun seeing who can settle that out. And maybe somebody comes from the backside of the field and wins one of these final races. You just never know.
And a great point you just brought up there. Allgaier right back in the mix as far as regular season championship goes with the problems that John Hunter Nemechek and Austin Hill had. 21 career wins for Allgaier.
Back at Daytona, and for the first time in his career, Justin Allgaier has won at a drafting track. Why not do it at Daytona, the most coveted victory lane in all of NASCAR? Hi, everyone. Marty Snyder, Kyle Petty, the Hall of Famer Dale Jarrett, and Brad Daugherty joining you. I believe, DJ, this is the same Justin Allgaier told me this afternoon, I hate drafting races. I guess he doesn't now, even though he started in the back after the pass-through penalty, comes through and wins the race.
he's probably still not very fond of it. Let's see, when he goes back and watches everything that happened, that's why he wouldn't be. And he hasn't had much luck at it either. Like he hadn't had much luck the previous 5 races, and that's what had kind of hurt this team. They'd been really fast, but they weren't able to close anything out. Now they're able to get that win, have some momentum, and they're still right in the hunt, as the guys were pointing out about the regular season points battle that they're in. Now he's in second spot.
Yeah, what was the stat? He'd run here 20 or 26 or 20-some.
Crazy number.
Crazy. And this is his first. That fascinates me because he runs up front so much. I would have just thought that he'd already won 3 or 4 races at this point because he has so much experience in this. And when it came down to the end, he made all the right moves and put his car. And that's what Parker said in his interview. He was in the right place. He had the right people pushing. Everything that he could do to put himself in the right position, and still only won it by what? The 4th closest margin in Xfinity history.
Yeah, no, and like DJ mentioned earlier, this is somewhat of a shakeup because now he wins. He's going to 2 racetracks in Darlington and Kansas where he's really darn good.
Very good.
So now all of a sudden, John Hunter Nemechek has problems tonight. It really shakes up that regular season points battle. This is going to be fun to watch over these next 2 weeks.
Just to prove it's a game of inches, DJ, I mean, check out how close that finish was tonight.
Don't look at it again.
5 1,000ths of a second. That's insane.
That's just incredible. I mean, you talk about it. We see it happen here all the time, and whoever gets that push. And I believe this is a night, we talk about how good a cars Justin's had. I don't think he had the fastest car, but he probably had the most experience here. Kyle, you pointed out how many races he'd been here, but I think all of that helped him getting himself and putting himself in the right spot to get just that little bit of push to win.
Yeah, just the move at the last minute got him the win at Daytona. Another strong night for Sheldon Creed, second for the 2nd week in a row. Afterwards, Nate caught up with him.
Sheldon Creed comes up 5,000ths of a second short of your first Xfinity victory. I'm sure that's painful. How close were you on that last lap? Was it just a matter of you just need a little bit more of a push or a little bit more momentum?
Yeah, watching the restart right here, I was leading in the restart zone by a hair, but honestly, hats off to RCR for building great race cars, especially the Speedway cars, ECR Motors, everyone in the motor shop. Done a phenomenal job. We have some momentum finally, back-to-back second places, and just I'm cleaning it up and doing better myself, just putting races together. And I thought we killed it tonight. You know, second stage 1, stage 2. Kind of got dropped there, with a few to go, and was just able to stay clean. I mean, I don't know if there's a scratch on it, so just amazing night for us. Glad a Chevy won. Happy for all of Junior Motorsports and Algar. And I want to thank Wheelan, Chevy, everyone at RCR, all the guys back at the shop for not giving up on us. And man, good points night for us. So we're gonna make the playoffs this year, and we're going to keep fighting for these good finishes.
Yeah, playoff outlook is excellent with 2 to go. Jeff Burton said that he felt like this was a night where you did everything right. It just didn't work out. Is that how it felt for you, Sheldon? You did everything right. It's just one of those things where you just don't win in a place like this.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because I feel like we struggle with the balance of the car a lot at our intermediate racetracks, and then I'll overdrive it and mess it up. So tonight I felt like I just did everything right, like you're saying, and I feel like I've done that the last couple of weeks. So just got to keep building on that, give the team confidence, give myself confidence, and it's a good time to be heating up.
All right, Sheldon Creed comes up just short of his first Xfinity Series victory.
3rd place tonight for Daniel Hemrick, and it's funny because I didn't have a sight on you until late in the race. It seemed like one of those days where you bided your time, missed a few things, and then you were there.
Yeah, we kind of just hung around that, 5th to 10th place all day with the Circle Chevrolet. We had okay balance. I was trying to be really patient, kind of play the manufacturer game, the team game there, and the patience ultimately paid off for us. So we weren't quite as fast as Xfinity 10G tonight, but we came here and did what we had to do. It's able to get a couple stage points each stage and get a top 5 out of it. So we needed that. It's been a couple probably 4 or 5 weeks out of character for us. So it's good to kind of get back into this. Wish we could have had opportunity there to race forward like the 7 and the 2. I was really just only a good pusher there at the end with a little bit of damage we got from the restart before. So proud of these guys, proud of Colleague Racing. Very good finish out this regular season. Has some really good racetracks for us, and regroup, get ready for the playoffs.
I was going to ask, it seems like maybe this is a little momentum to carry you to Darlington and Kansas.
Yeah, this sport's sport's something else. What a roller coaster it can be. Momentum. You think you got it, then you don't, and you just do everything you can in your power to make the decisions to give the momentum back to you. So the only thing that always stands true is showing up, putting the work in, and being ready to go when the time is there for you. So this 11 group will do that. We'll continue to work. Yeah, roll on next week.
Boy, Dave, Daniel Hemrick did what he needed to do tonight. Second most points scored, now plus 57 above the cut line. Little congratulations, Sheldon Creed, to Justin Allgaier. Gets it done at Daytona tonight.